With Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from our broadcasting booth on a positively beautiful afternoon in San Francisco. The skies an endless brilliant blue and clear. The temperature probably in the mid-60s. And the wind, so famous here at Candlestick as yet, has not really come up, but probably will in another 20 minutes. You can almost set your clock by it. Right now, Willie Mays and Casey are at home plate with the umpires to exchange the lineup slips. New York will have Johnny Lewis in right field leading off. Roy McMillan playing short, batting second. Eddie Kranepool at first base, the number 3 hitter. Joe Christopher in left field, batting cleanup. Jim Hickman in center field, batting number 5. Charlie Smith at third base, hitting 6th. Bobby Klaus at second base, batting 7th. Chris Cannizzaro behind the plate, batting 8th. And on the mound, batting 9th, 6'7" Tom Parsons from Lakeville, Connecticut. For the Giants, Jose Pagan will be at shortstop leading off. Matty Alou in left field, hitting second. Willie McCovey playing first base and batting third. Willie Mays in center field, batting cleanup. Jesus Alou, the right fielder, bats number 5. Third baseman Jim Hart will be batting 6th. Tom Haller behind the plate, hitting 7th. Hal Lanier will be at second base, batting 8th. And on the mound, batting 9th, 9-year pitching veteran Jack Sanford. The umpires in today's game, Ken Burkhardt behind the plate. Lee Wire will be at first. John Kibler calling the plays at second. And the crew chief of this umpiring team, Frank Sikori, will call the plays around third. Today's broadcast comes to you through the courtesy of Rheingold Breweries Incorporated, Brown & Williamson Tobacco Corporation, and the Shell Oil Company, and is authorized under radio rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets is prohibited. Johnny Lewis waiting the 1-1 delivery. Ground ball hit toward the hole, a base hit going into right field. And Johnny Lewis wastes not a moment in extending his hitting streak. Johnny has hit safely in all 10 ball games that he's played this year for the New York Mets. Johnny Lewis, who has performed brilliantly in the early going for New York, singling through the hole into right field. That brings up Roy McMillan. Roy laid down an important sacrifice bunt to help build a run early in the game last night. It turned out to be mighty important as the Mets played catch-up and made one of the steepest uphill climbs in their history. He's around the bunt, bunts a beautiful bunt. Coming after the ball is McCovey. The play goes to first. The ball through off the glove of Hal Lanier. On his way to second is McMillan. Johnny Lewis around third will hold there. Runners on second and third, nobody out. We'll wait and see whether the throw gets the air or whether Hal Lanier draws it. Throw appeared to be a little bit wide. And it will be a throwing error on McCovey. Score it. A sacrifice and an error on the throw. Now, runners on second and third. Nobody out. And the hitter is Eddie Kranepool. Eddie batting .441 to lead the National League in batting. And he has hit safely in every ball game he's played this year for the Mets. Now the Giants bring in the left side of the infield, Jim Hart and Jose Pagan. Lanier plays back on the right side at second. McCovey is even with the bag wide of the line at first. The outfield straight away. Strike called, a fastball in the outside corner. Jack Sanford last Sunday at Shea Stadium notched his first win of the year when he bested Al Jackson 4-1. He left the game after 6 innings for a pinch hitter. Bob Shaw finished out with 3 perfect innings at relief. Now the pitch. Outside and high. It's 1 ball, 1 strike on Eddie Kranepool. Mets and Giants are now even this year. Each team is 1-2. Doubleheader tomorrow. We'll be broadcasting and televising both games of tomorrow's doubleheader back to New York. We'll be on the air at 2:55 p.m. New York time. A bounced foul. He went after a breaking pitch, and the count 1-2 on Eddie Kranepool. Yogi Berra on the coaching lines at first. Don Hefner coaching at third. Well, the Mets were a tired but a gleeful ball club as they headed back to their hotel following the marathon game last night. One of the real unsung heroes in the ball game was Galen Cisco. Galen has been battling arm trouble from mid-spring training on. And it was a strong performance by Galen that held the Giants in check and gave the Mets a chance to catch up in the ball game. Left side of the infield, clamped in tight. Sanford winding, the 1-2 pitch. Outside and high, it's 2-2. Joe Christopher is on deck, and then Jim Hickman. Eddie had 2 hits and 5 times at bat in the victory last night. Al Sanford, the veteran right-hander, looks into Tom Haller for his sign. Pitching 2-2. Outside, and the string is out, 3-2. Eddie off to a great start. His base hit in the 8th inning last night figured in the Mets' comeback. The Mets scored 6 runs in the 8th and 9th to tie the game. A ground ball taken by McCovey. A fair ball, and he's out at first. The runner's hold. McCovey made the play right on top of the bag, and so Cranepool is out. No chance for any advance by either base runner. McCovey was not sure that it was a fair ball. It was hit right down the line. Then when he checked with umpire Lee Wire, he turned around and stepped on the base. That brings up Joe Christopher. Now the Giants will have a conference at the mound to decide what strategy they want to follow. First base is open. Christopher, the cleanup batter, is stepping in. Joe scored the winning run in the 11th inning last night. He had drawn a walk. He stole second, went on to third on Haller's high throw, and scored on Smitty's sacrifice fly. They're going to put him on. They have a base open. And so Christopher will draw the intentional walk. The Giants will take their chances on getting the double play by pitching to Jim Hickman. Jim Hickman came into the game last night without a base hit this year. He'd been hitting the ball well, but right at somebody. But he broke out last night. He had 2 run-scoring doubles. Jim wound up the night with 2 hits in 6 times at bat. Last time up, he hit a long fly that was caught against the fence by Matty Alou. So now here is Jim Hickman stepping in with the bases loaded. Johnny Lewis on third, Roy McMillan on second, and Joe Christopher on first. Giants drop the infield back at double play depth. Second baseman Hal Lanier will play Hickman to pull. He shades him far over towards second base. The Giants have their outfield deep and around toward left. Mets casting a menacing threat here in the top of the first inning. Sanford, the 9-year pitching veteran, looks in for his sign. Johnny Lewis, the lead runner on third. Now the windup by Sanford. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball over. Strike call. Sanford has one of the best sliders in the National League. And a very effective pitch for him, particularly against the right-hand hitters. And he knows how to keep it away so the hitters can't pull it. Now Hickman, back foot on the restraining line, bends a little from the waist. Takes it high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jack Sanford underwent surgery the middle of the season last year for an ailing elbow to remove an artery blockage. So he is trying to negotiate the comeback trail and has been pitching well. The 1-1 delivery. Foul ball, just barely got a piece of it off the end of the bat. Rolled right straight back in the count 1-2. Here at Candlestick Park, there is an awful lot of room in foul territory, which can help a pitcher out in a situation like this. This is by far and away one of the most beautiful days we've ever had for a ball game out here. It's windy, as you would expect. Sanford in front on the count now, facing Hickman. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 1 man out. Now the pitch on the way. Low and outside. He had Hickman leaning and following it, but Jim decided against it, and it broke away. Now the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sanford in a sticky spot, taking a lot of time between pitches and weighing each one out very carefully. Now the pitch. Foul ball hit high in the air, giving chase Willie McCovey, but he'll have no play. This will be in the crowd. Last year, due to the ailing arm, Jack won only 5 ball games and lost 7. The Giants' pennant-winning year 3 years ago, he won 24 and lost only 7. He has had some big years. Back in '57 with the Phillies, he was a 19-game winner. And year before last, he won 16. His high school coach in Wellesley was Hal Goodenough, a very important member of the New York Mets Speakers Bureau. Hal, for many years, appeared all over the upper Midwest with the Milwaukee Braves. The 2-2 delivery. A ground ball hit towards second base. Lanier flips to second, 1 out. Began to first. Safe, and the run is in. Close play at first base, but Hickman is safe. Lewis comes in to score. It was a roller hit to Lanier, not too hard. Lanier actually was playing in and over towards second against Hickman. He had great defensive position. The Giants a little bit slow at unrolling the double play, and Hickman arrives in time. So Hickman is safe on the fielder's choice. Christopher is forced out. Lanier to Pagan, and Lewis comes in to score. Give Jim Hickman a run batted in. Roy McMillan moving on to third. Runners on first and third, 2 outs. Charlie Smith the batter. New York in front, 1-0. Jim's third RBI in this series. He had 2 last night. Charlie Smith drove in the winning run in the 11th inning last night with a sacrifice fly. Third to first by Sanford. It's not in time. Joe Christopher did a good job running the bases when he came home with a winning run. He was blocked off by Tom Haller. The ball arrived at about the same time, and Christopher, with a real hard slide, knocked the ball loose and came in with a winning run. A strike on the outside corner. Probably not accurate to say he knocked the ball loose because there was never possession, as both arrived at just about the same time. But Haller had taken position up the line about 5 feet, which really made it tough for Christopher to get through. Throw to first, not in time. Runners on first and third, 2 men down, 1 run is in. Charlie Smith waiting. A line drive over second, a base hit to center field by Smitty. In comes Roy McMillan to score. Hickman stops at second, and the Mets are now in front 2-0. So Charlie Smith, who drove in 2 runs, including the winning run last night, singles home Roy McMillan. Klaus is up. Bobby, the 7th man to hit here in the first inning. And the call goes to the Giant bullpen now for Ron Herbel to start getting ready. 2 runs are in. That's the second hit in the inning off Sanford. And the pitch is over. Strike 1 called. Both runs against Jack Sanford will be classified as unearned runs as the result of a throwing error made by Stretch McCovey on the bunt laid down by Roy McMillan. It was a good bunt. It was going to move the runner, but it was thrown away at first. Too high. Bobby Klaus takes 1 ball and 1 strike. Two runs in. Last night it was the Giants who got off to a fast start. They scored 5 runs in the first inning. Now the pitch to Bobby, a check swing roller that's fouled down to Yogi Berra on the lines at first. So they give Yogi a hand. Yesterday it was Warren Spahn's 44th birthday. Spahny pitches tomorrow in one of the 2 games along with Al Jackson. Yogi Berra will celebrate his 40th birthday during the next Mets homestand. Yogi will turn 40 on the 12th of May. On the homestand, the Mets will be entertaining 4 consecutive National League pennant contenders. The 1-2 delivery. A high pop fly outside third. Jim Hart in foul ground is under it waiting, and the side is out. But the Mets get off to a good start, scoring 2 runs. There were 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 left on. The runs will be unearned. And the score in the middle of the first, the Mets 2 and the Giants coming to bat. You know, it's hard to imagine New York City without every kind of jazz from Dixieland to progressive. Fortunately, you don't have to. Listen.
That's Backstreet Rag, a uniquely American sound. It came up the Mississippi out of New Orleans with the Negro jazzmen who played it to the world. But they didn't stop with Dixieland and the blues. Little David's Fugue by John Lewis is a new sound that's part of a new generation. But whether it's the old jazz or the new, it's thirsty work for the musicians. And when they put down their instruments, they'll pick up a cold beer, often Rheingold extra dry. In fact, in New York City, where there are more kinds of jazz than in any other city in the world, more people drink Rheingold than any other beer. Why do so many people like Rheingold? We don't know, but we must be doing something right.
Now, before the Giants come up against Tom Parsons in the bottom half of the first inning, we'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
WGY, WGFM Schenectady, bringing you all the games of the New York Mets. For baseball, for the best in music, for comprehensive, reliable news reporting, stay tuned to WGY, WGFM.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from Candlestick Park. The Mets scoring 2 off Jack Sanford in the top of the first, and now the Giants come up against Tom Parsons. Tom started against Juan Marichal last Saturday at Shea Stadium and did a good job. The Mets were shut out by Marichal, Giants winning 4-0. Parsons gave up just 1 earned run in the first 6 innings. He had to leave the ball game for a hitter trailing 2-0. One of the 2 had been unearned. So now he faces Jose Pagan, the Giant leadoff batter. Tall Tom is into his windup, and the pitch is in, strike 1 called. New York playing Eddie Kranepool at first, Bobby Klaus at second, Roy McMillan at short, and Charlie Smith at third. The outfield, Joe Christopher in left, Jim Hickman in center, around in right field, Johnny Lewis. Chris Cannizzaro behind the plate. Pagan hits a ground ball to shortstop. McMillan digs it out of the dirt. Max straightens up and throws. In time, Pagan is out. 1 away and nobody on. That'll bring up the speedy left fielder, Matty Alou. Matty's hitting .400. He's had 10 hits in 25 times at bat. Last of the first inning, Matty Alou, speedy left-hand hitter. When we say speedy, Matty has been clocked at 3.4 going to first base. As Casey would say, that's amazing. Drag bunt down the first base line. He'll go to beat it out for a base hit. Well, he caught the Mets flat-footed with a beauty of a drag bunt. Parsons was far behind in the race to try and get over there. They had no chance to get him. Kranepool had to field the bunt. And that's a base hit, a beauty of a drag bunt by Matty Alou as he cashes in on that blinding speed. First by Parsons, not in time. The only day game complete in the National League. The Cubs beat the Braves 3-1 behind Bob Buell. Chicago playing real good ball. They've now won 6 of their first 9 ball games. They beat Tony Cloninger today. Now the pitch. Stretch McCovey looks it over. It's in. Strike 1 called. The other day game is in Cincinnati, where The game has just ended with Cincinnati downing the St. Louis Cardinals 6-3 on the slugging of Frank Robinson and Vada Pinson. They shelled Tracy Stallard, who went out of the game in the 6th inning. The winner, Sammy Ellis, and the loser, Tracy Stallard. Reds winning 6-3. Frank Robinson hit 2 home runs off Tracy, and Vada Pinson hit a home run in the 7th off Ray Washburn. Throw to first, not in time. Tonight, Pittsburgh at Houston and Philadelphia at Los Angeles. 1 out and 1 on. The pitch to McCovey. Ground ball slowly hit, charging in is Klaus. The play to second in time. Good play by Bobby Klaus. Bobby had to watch the runner. He made a beauty of a throw, zeroing in to McMillan to take the speedy Alou off the line. That brings up Willie Mays. Willie batting .333. In the American League, Lee Thomas has hit a 3-run homer in the 12th inning at Baltimore. And the Orioles have broken a 4-4 deadlock and gone ahead. The Red Sox have broken a 4-4 deadlock and gone ahead 7-4. The Birds now hitting in the last of the 12th inning. Lee Thomas hitting a 3-run homer in the top of the 12th inning. Now the pitch underway. Inside and low to Willie Mays, ball 1. Home run heroics in Detroit this afternoon. Tigers trailing by a run in the last of the 9th inning got a game-tying home run by Willie Horton, and then a 3-run homer by Gates Brown to come from behind and beat Minnesota 7-4. Larry Sherry winning in relief, and Jerry Fosno the loser in relief. Breaking ball down in the dirt. Parsons behind on Mays 2-0. The Angels behind Dean Chance beat the Yankees 6-3 in the stadium. Boughton was the loser. Ralph Terry won his second game on a 6-hitter with Bell in the 9th, as Cleveland beat Kansas City 4-1. The White Sox behind Bruce Howard and Hoyt Wilhelm beat Washington 6-2. Ground ball whacked to shortstop. McMillan up with it. Plays to Klaus. The force on McCovey, and the side is out. Good pitching job by Tom Parsons. The Giants are out in the first with no runs, a bunt single. No errors, 1 left on. At the end of 1, the Mets 2 and the Giants nothing. The Mets will wind up this road trip in Cincinnati next weekend. Return to New York for the Mayor's Trophy game against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium on Monday night, May 3rd, and those Mayor's Trophy game tickets are now on sale at all Mets ticket outlets. Meeting between the Mets and the Yankees for the benefit of the Mayor's Sandlot Baseball program in the greater New York area. A ball game for a real worthwhile cause. A lot of entertainment for you, the fan. Then Tuesday night, May 4th, the Mets will open one of their most attractive homestands of the year. 4 consecutive pennant contenders will be coming into Shea Stadium, starting with the first night game of the season in big, beautiful Shea under the lights. Gene Mock brings the Phillies in with Stewart and Belinsky and all the rest of the cast. For the first night game, Tuesday night, May 4th. Another night game on the 5th, Wednesday night with the Phillies. Then the Braves are in for a weekend series, Friday night, Ladies' Day, Saturday the 8th, and a doubleheader Sunday the 9th. The Cardinals come in for a night game on the 11th and a day game the 12th. The Reds come in for a 4-game weekend series. Tickets on sale at the advanced sale window at Shea Stadium, the Long Island Railroad waiting room in Penn Station in Manhattan, also at the Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan, at Macy's and the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington, Long Island. And remember, too, reservations for box and reserve seats may be made at all Howard Clothes stores in the greater New York area. Chris Cannizzaro leading off against Jack Sanford. We go to the second, and the pitch is over, strike 1. Now the windup, down comes the pitch. Off-speed delivery, it's over, strike 2. Chris started the ball game last night and got a base hit his first time up. Jesse Gonder hit for Befke in the second, and Jesse stayed in the ball game. Now the pitch underway. Off the outside corner, 1-2. Chris Hales from nearby San Leandro, California, about 20 miles from here. 1-2 delivery. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. He jammed him with a fastball. One out and nobody on. Now Tom Parsons comes up. Tom Brown pitched very well throughout the spring in St. Petersburg and earned a place in the starting rotation. And his first outing against the Giants, although losing, he pitched well. He allowed only one earned run against the Giants in 6 innings, went out of the game for a hitter. Breaking ball, a strike on the outside corner. Tom Parsons started out in the Pirate organization, and he had fellows like Al Jackson and Bob Beal for teammates. Slider outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. The extra inning ball game in Baltimore is now over. The 3-run homer in the 12th inning by Lee Thomas wins the game for the Red Sox. The final score 7-5. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. The winner in relief, the monster, Dick Raditz. He came on for Earl Wilson in the 7th. Stu Miller gave up the 3-run blast. Perhaps. Yes, he did. He came on in the 8th inning and is the loser. And the fastball is over, strike 3. Parsons caught looking. So in the Boston-Baltimore game, Red Sox 7 runs, 17 hits. They've really been hitting. 1 error. Baltimore 5-8-2. Raditz the winner in relief of Wilson. Miller the loser. Pappas had started the ball game. Aside from the game-winning home run by Thomas, John Orsino and Jackie Brandt hit bird home runs with nobody on. A home run telling the story around baseball this afternoon so far. Johnny Lewis up, a swing and a miss on a breaking ball, strike 1. Johnny singled to right, leading off the ball game and later scored. He's hit safely in all 10 games he's played. And the fastball is over, strike 2. Well, we're getting along toward dinner time around New York. We hope you'll enjoy the enjoyment of your dinner by keeping our Mets broadcast on and by having a glass or 2 of Rheingold beer. Low and inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Johnny Lewis. Talking about the home run story in big league ball today, the Tigers were behind by a run in the last of the 9th. A swing and a miss, he struck him out. And Willie Horton tied the game with a homer, and Gase Brown won it with a 3-run homer for Detroit. Well, Sanford coming back strong in the 2nd, fans decide. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. And the score, at the end of an inning and a half, the Mets 2 and the Giants nothing. Here's a helpful driving tip from the makers of Super Shell, the good mileage gasoline.
Do you know the safe way to drive in a rainstorm? Listen to these tips from local Shell dealers.
As soon as the first raindrops hit, slow down. That's when the road may actually be slickest. And turn on your headlights, even if it isn't dark. They'll help oncoming drivers see you. If it rains really hard, your brake linings may get wet, and that's dangerous. Keep testing your brakes. If they don't hold, dry out the linings by stepping on the brake pedal lightly and holding it down while you drive slowly for about a quarter of a mile.
Next time you're caught in a rainstorm, remember these tips from local Shell dealers. Slow down as soon as the rain starts. Turn on your headlights. Test your brakes, and if necessary, dry out the linings with a light pressure on the brake pedal. Why are local Shell dealers offering these safety tips? Because service is our business at Shell stations.
Last half of the 2nd inning, Jesus Alou will be leading off against Tom Parsons. Jesus batting a torrid .378. Giants today are playing their 10th game of the year. They've won 4 and lost 5. The Mets today are playing their 11th game. The Mets have won 4 and lost 6. And they are playing the top teams in the National League. Parsons out of his windup. The pitch, line drive over the head of Bobby Klaus, a base hit. Johnny Lewis tracks it down in right center. He'll hold him to a single. And Jesus Alou is really sizzling. Now Jim Hart, the batter. First inning last night, he hit a 2-run homer off young Jim Bethke that was driven into that strong wind and over the fence about 380 feet out. Pitch to Hart, breaks off the catcher Smith. On his way is Jesus. No throw by Canizero. breaking ball low and outside. Chris had a mitt on it, but it popped away and rolled just far enough to let him go. It'll be a short pass ball. So now Alou is on second. Nobody out. 1 ball and no strikes on Jim Hart. Hart batting .343. His home run last night off Bethke was his first of the new season. Last year as a rookie, this powerfully constructed third baseman belted 31 round trippers. Mets play him deep and around toward left in the outfield. Now Parsons up in pitching position. Delivers to Hart. Bounced foul. He swung late. Whacked it down the first baseline. It's 1 ball, 1 strike on Jim Hart. Earning his way to the major leagues, Hart had some big years in the minors. Right-hand batter. Feet close together. Middle of the batter's box. Now the pitch by Parsons. A ground ball toward the hole. Klaus trying to run it down. Is up with it. Throws in time, and Hart is out. The ball wasn't hit hard, and Bobby was able to range wide to his glove side. Field it in the hole and get the runner Jim Hart. Moving on to third goes Alou. Now with Tom Haller, a left-hand batter up, the right side of the infield will be back. The left side of the infield will play in. Mets 2 and the Giants nothing. We're in the last half of the second. Haller was struck out by Rybent to nail down the victory in the 11th inning last night. Tapped foul, no play, and the count strike 1. Left-handers win, as it always is here at Candlestick. Blowing from left across toward right. Cookie Lavagetto coaching at first base, and Charlie Fox on the lines at third for new Giant manager Herman Franks. Hal Lanier is the on-deck batter. Now the pitch. Breaking ball, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Canizero, quarterbacking, sets up the target. The 1-1 pitch. A smash down to first, a base hit between Cranepool and the bag. Karam's off the wall and foul ground back to right field. In to score comes Jesus Alou, and that's a run-scoring single by Tom Haller, and he really ripped it. He hit a shot between Cranepool and the line, and Cranepool was playing him toward the line. Run batted in for catcher Tom Haller, his first of the new season. That brings up Hal Lanier. He suffered a bruised ankle in a collision with Johnny Lewis at second base last night when Johnny was trying to break up a twin killing and did. And it was doubtful whether he could play today or not. Fastball over, strike 1. A peg to first, not in time. It's now a 2-1 ball game. Single to right center by Jesus Alou. He took second on a pass ball, moved to third on a ground out, and comes in to score on the base hit by Haller. Throw to first, just lobbed over there by Tom Parsons. Giant pitcher Jack Sanford will be up next. Now Parsons up in pitching position. Down comes the pitch. A swing and a miss on a breaking ball. It's strike 2. Took over as the Giants' regular second baseman about a third into last season. He had started the year in the Coast League at Tacoma. Batted .276 for the Giants. 2-strike delivery is fouled back up into the crowd, no play. Doubleheader tomorrow starts at high noon here in San Francisco. That means our broadcast will be on at 2:55 p.m., 5 before 3 New York time. And this is the night everybody loses an hour's sleep as we head toward daylight saving time. But don't worry about it, you get it back in October. Two-strike delivery. Ground ball whacked to shortstop. McMillan fires to second, one. On to first, he's hit. The throw goes high and wide over into foul territory. Lanier is going on to second to play at second, and he is safe on a rather close play. Oh, Bobby Klaus was really whacked by Tom Haller just as he turned the throw loose, and as a result, that ball went sky high, and Bobby will have to be charged with an error on a play in which he had no control. He was hit so hard, it just made the ball fly high and wide. We'd like to send along our congratulations to Sam Taub. You know, Sam was one of the pioneers of the sports broadcasting profession, and tomorrow evening in Norwalk, Connecticut, Sam Taub will be honored at a 50th anniversary testimonial. Don Dunphy will be the master of ceremonies, and Jack Dempsey will be among the guests. And our best wishes to a great guy, Sam Taub. Now Sanford up. Fastball over, strike one. The ball a near hit over toward the hole wasn't hit real hard, and the timing was just such that Bobby Klaus was a dead duck as tall, rangy Tom Haller came sliding in hard at second base. Pitch to Sanford. A squibbler out in front of the plate. Hurrying for it is Parsons. He's up with it. Throws to first. The side is out. Side retired in the last of the second. The Giants get a run. One run, two hits, one error, one left. Now 2 innings complete on the score. The Mets 2 and the Giants 1. The Giant run will be scored as an earned run. Fans' tickets for the 3rd annual Mayor's Trophy game between the Mets and the Yankees are on sale now at all Met ticket outlets. You know, the game is scheduled for Monday night, May 3rd at Yankee Stadium. And proceeds from the Mayor's Trophy game will go toward the purchase of equipment for sandlot baseball teams throughout the New York City area. It's a very worthwhile ball game. The Mets and the Yankees do everything they can to make the game bring in as much money for the Mayor's benefit program as possible. They pay all of their own expenses. Right after the Mayor's Trophy game, the Mets have their first night game in Big Shea. They'll play their first night game against the Philadelphia Phils on Tuesday night, May 4th. And that opens a homestand that sees 4 contenders come into Shea Stadium. Right here, we're going to the 3rd inning. The Mets are coming up against Jack Sanford. And all set now to describe the action for you, Ralph Kiner.
Thank you, Bob, and hi there, everyone. A pleasant day here in San Francisco. Hope you're having the same. Leading 2-1. The first man up for New York will be Roy McMillan. He'll be followed by Ed Kranepool and then Joe Christopher. Roy sacrificed his first time up to set up one of the Mets' runs in the first inning. They scored 2 in the first. Giants came back, scored a run in the bottom half of the second to cut the lead to 2-1. Roy looking for his 4th hit this year, and the first pitch by Sanford, high for ball 1. Jack, a right-hander with a fastball that moves in on the right-hand batter, a good slider, and a good curve. His 1-0 delivery is high again. It's ball 2. 2 sliders in a row. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Mets have won 4 of their 10 ball games played. They're 4-6. The Giants have won 4 of their 9, 4-5. This is the second game of a 4-game series. Tomorrow it's going to be Al Jackson and Warren Spahn for the Mets. Going for the Giants, the scheduled pitchers, Juan Marichal and Bob Boland. Now the 2-0 delivery. It is in for a called strike. Sanford down around the knees with a slider. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. Temperature today scheduled to be right around 80 degrees. Not a cloud in the sky. It's a beautiful day. 2-1 delivery. Hit hard on the ground to short. Dug out by Jose Pagan. He overhands to first base. Roy McMillan out here in the top of the 3rd. That'll bring up Ed Kranepool. Ed grounded out to first base with runners at 2nd and 3rd in the first inning. He is 0 for 1. Started the ball game as the National League's leading hitter. Batting at .441 at the start of the ball game, his 0 for 1 has dropped him down to .429. He is second in the National League in runs batted in. He has a total of 10. So Ed off to a good start. 20 years of age. Remember the time that he signed up with the Mets after graduating from Monroe High School in New York. Flew out here to San Francisco to see his first game as a New York Met player. He swings and misses at strike one. Wind blowing out toward right field. A good hitting right field here. 375 in right center. He hits one deep to right. It's going, and gone. Cranepool picking up his second home run, his 11th run batted in. And he now has hit in 10 consecutive ball games, as has Johnny Lewis. His first home run came off Dick Farrell of the Houston Ball Club. So Eddie Cranepool now with his second home run, the Mets leading by a score of 3-1. No doubt about that one. It was caught by one of the group that hang out over beyond the right field fence, about 40 feet in back of the right field fence. Down the line, it's 335. Now the batter is Joe Christopher. Joe walked intentionally his first time up. He looks for strike one. Giants tried to pull off some strategy in the first inning, which did not come off. Herman Franks played the infield in on Ed Cranepool, and he grounded out with runners at second and third. They had to hold. Christopher was walked intentionally, but then the Mets came through. Pitch is inside. It is 1 ball, 1 strike. Jim Hickman hit into a force play, beating out a double play attempt. On that play, John Lewis scored from third base, and then Charlie Smith came up with a 2-out single to center field to drive in the second run. Now the Mets have added one more here in the third with the home run from Ed Cranepool. 1-1 delivery to Christopher. Fouled off. It's strike two. Off the mask of Ken Burkhardt, the umpire behind home plate. Lee Wire, the umpire at first base. John Kibler umpiring at second base, and Frank Sikori, the umpire at third. Mets have utilized their 3 hits to score 3 runs. San Francisco with 3 hits, but 1 run. 1 away. We're in the top of the third. Pitch back to Christopher. Fouled back in the screen. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mets and Giants have played 4, and they're all even at 2 apiece. Last year, the Mets gave the Giants a lot of trouble. Battled them right down the line in many a ball game. Giants won 11, the Mets won 7. But the Giants won 3 extra inning ball games to turn the tide. Pitch back to Christopher, bounced down towards second base. Lanier stays back on it and throws to first base for the out. Christopher just more or less 3/4 speeding it down to first. It's 2 away here in the top of the third. The Mets in front 3-1 in the second ball game of the 4-game series, and Jim Hickman comes up. Jim is 0 for 1 with a run batted in. He picked up his first 2 hits of the season in last night's ball game, both hits doubles. He is 2 for 19 for the year. And he also drove in 2 runs last night, and the one here today, he has a total of 3. And the first pitch to the right-hand batter, a curveball, sort of a check swing, and it's strike 1. Next pitch is hit down the left field line foul, taken on the ground by Jim Ray Hart. The next pitch back to Jim. Looked at it, it's a called strike 3. 4th strikeout for Jack Sanford. He struck out the side in his second. Now picking up his 4th is Jim Hickman is caught looking. For the Mets, 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, no one left on base, and the score at the end of 2.5. The Mets 3, the Giants 1. Say, if you're wondering what kind of song goes with So Press Say and Sal Chichi, listen to this.
Come Spacete Mameta is sure to be sung when Italian-Americans get together. And spicy pizza rustica will be served. The inevitable result is a fiery thirst.
Come te non c'è nessuno.
This song brings on the beer, probably Rheingold. In New York City, where there are more Italians than in Naples, more people drink Rheingold Extra Dry than any other beer. And Rheingold is going great in New Jersey, New England, and Pennsylvania, too. Why do Italian Americans like Rheingold? We don't know, but we must be doing something right.
Bottom half of the third, and while we wait for the leadoff batter to come in, we'll step out for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
WGY, WGFM Schenectady, bringing you all the games of the New York Mets. For baseball, for the best in music, for comprehensive, reliable news reporting, stay tuned to WGY, WGFM.
Ralph Kiner, along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Mets leading 3-1. The Giants coming up. The first man up will be Jose Pagan. Jose grounded out to short his first time up against Tom Parsons. Tom has given up 1 run, allowed 3 hits. And the big right-hander with his first pitch, a fastball low and inside, is ball 1. Tom, 6'7", on the mound for the Mets with a record of 0-1. He was defeated by the Giants pitching against Juan Marichal in New York last weekend. A 1-0 delivery. It's hit deep into right center field. It'll go for a single. Could be for 2. Coming over is Johnny Lewis to cut it off, and he holds him at first base. So Pagan picks up a base hit, his first. Giants now at 4 hits. And the batter will be Matty Alou, who beat out a bunt his first time up in the first. Matty, a left-hand batter with good speed, bunted on out toward first base and beat the play when Tom Parsons was late covering. Actually, he probably couldn't have beat him there anyway. Matty getting away from the plate in excellent style. Throw to first base, not in time. Just a little lob throw by Tom Parsons. Mets leading 3-1. We're in the bottom half of the third, no one out. Tom Parsons having to contend with Matty Alou now. Next is Willie McCovey, and if it goes far enough, Willie Mays. And Parsons now a look at first. The pitch to the plate is just outside. The fastball at the knees, it's ball 1. Every time you see a left-hand batter up in this ballpark with the wind blowing out the right field, you get a little bit nervous. Now the pitch. Change-up popped in the shallow right, the base hit. Johnny Lewis trying to decoy the runner. He picks it up and holds him at second base. Giants are impressed with Johnny Lewis. They are not taking any chances. He has 4 assists so far, and Jose Pagan, who had rounded second, had no intention of going to third. That was a looping line drive into right field. Johnny Lewis coming in decoyed the play by making like he was going to catch the ball. That sort of slowed up Pagan, and when he got to it, the runner held at second. Now Gary Cole warming up the bullpen for the Mets. He was knocked out in last night's ball game. Mets went on to win it, coming from behind by scoring 6 runs in the last 2 innings. They tied up, and they won it 9-8. Alou now is 2 for 2. Runners at first and second. The batter is Willie McCovey. And the first pitch is checked on. It's too low. It's ball 1. Giants now with 5 base hits off Tom Parsons. Willie hit into a fourth play, grounding down to second base his first time up. Batting the .382 in this abbreviated season. Parsons a look at second. His pitch back, grounded foul. Off to the right side. The count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets last night getting a double break. They picked up a win and at the same time got to see a lot of pitchers in action. That's something they had not had a chance to do. They got behind in the ball game 5-1, then 6-1. And Casey Stengel had a chance to see some pitching. Winning pitch in the ball game was Dennis Ryman. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Parsons now back to the plate. The pitch is hit in the air in the center field. High in the air, deep to center. Now waiting for the ball, the center fielder Hickman. He makes the catch. Tagged up at second base is Jose Pagan. He goes to third, and Matty Lou, who was halfway down the line, went back to first. That ball was a towering dive deep in the center field. The ball in the air as high as it could go. Hickman went back about to the 390 mark to make the catch. Now the batter will be Willie Mays with 1 man away. Willie grounded out to the shortstop his first time up. He's batting at .324. Mets leading 3-1. 1 man out. Throw to first base. No tag made as the Lou gets back easily. 1 man out, bottom half of the third. Now Mays stepping out of the batter's box. Ken Burkhart calling time in as Mays gets back in. That's looking for a double play. And the first pitch is hit down the short through in the center field, a base hit. Going from third base is Jose Pagan. Going to third is Matty Lou, and Willie Mays is on. So Willie picks up his 7th run batted in. Giants have scored their 2nd run in the ball game, and the Mets now have their lead cut to 3-2. That brings up Jesus Alou. Jesus singled to right field his first time up. Runners at first and third. Giants getting their 6th hit off Tom Parsons. Gary Kroll still throwing for the Mets. And the Mets infield back again looking for the double play. And the first pitch to Jesus, slice in the right field. Scoring from third on the base hit is Matty Lou. A long throw to third base as Willie Mays tries to make it, and he is safe. And here comes Casey Stengel. So the Giants tied up on a handle hit, sliced off over to the right side on the ground. Matty Lou scoring from third on the base hit. And Willie Mays going to third. Score tied at 3-3. And Tom Parsons waiting for Casey Stengel to arrive at the mound. That is the 7th hit for the Giants. They picked up 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and now have 4 here in the third. Gary Kroll still throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. All the hits in this inning have been singles. Jose Pagan led off with a single to right field. He went down to second base when Matty Lou looped a single into right field. Jose Pagan then went to third in a fly ball by Willie McCovey to deep center. Willie Mays singled in the run, and Jesus Alou singled in the run. Now Casey Stengel back to the bench, and Tom Parsons has been left in the game. Tom will be pitching to Jim Ray Hart, the third baseman. Jim grounded out to second base his first time up. And once again, the Mets have their infield set for the double play. Willie Mays at third base. Jesus Alou at first. Quick throw to first, no tag made as the throw arrives too late. Parsons taking time on the mound. Now gets into the set position. And the pitch. Taken low, ball 1. Jim Ray Hart with 4 hits last night to raise his average up to .333. Also had a home run, his first this year. Giants have had 4 home runs this year, 3 by Mays, 1 by McCovey, 1 by Hart. Make it 5. And the pitch back in the dirt, blocked by Canizero. Holding at first base, Jesus Alou. Chris kept the ball out in front of the plate. It rolled out about 6 or 7 feet, and the runners had no chance to move. Two balls, no strikes. Giants with 2 in, runners at first and third. 1 man out. We're in the bottom half of the third. Now Parsons with a runner at first and a pitch back to the plate. It's in, a fastball. Let her high on the inside corner. balls, 1 strike. Willie Mays edging down the line at third. A throw to first base, but no tag made again. Jesus being held as close as possible, hoping that it will set up a double play. Now Parsons, a look at the signs from Chris Cannizzaro. He goes into the stretch position. And the pitch. It is hit on the ground in the hole. Going over is McMillan. He goes to second base in time for the fourth play there. And scoring from third base with a tie-breaking run is Willie Mays. No chance for double play. In fact, a good play by Roy McMillan to get to the ball. Ball got by Charlie Smith as he went to his left. McMillan had to go deep in the hole to come up with it. He threw over to second base, throw down around the knees, and it was taken there by Bobby Cloud. So the Giants have their third run in this inning. They lead now 4-3. And the batter will be Tom Haller. Haller with a base hit to drive in the first run for the Giants in the second. Left-hand batter. And the first pitch to Haller is a fastball outside, ball 1. Runs batted in have been from Willie Mays, Jesus Alou, Jim Ray Hart, and Tom Haller. All in a row, starting with the fourth hitter. Parsons back again, and the pitch is hit in the air, high in the air to left field. Joe Christopher waiting for it, now moving in. And he makes the catch, and that retires the side. In the inning, the Giants take the lead by scoring 3 runs. They had 4 hits. There were no errors. 1 man left on, and the score at the end of 3, the Giants 4, New York Mets 3. Now word from Cool Filter King.
Ever feel you're not getting what you want in a menthol cigarette? Then it's time you come up to Cool. Only Cool gives you rich, mellow tobaccos and extra coolness. The most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough until you change to Cool. Just not tasting cool enough till you come up to Cool. With rich tobaccos, cool white filter, extra coolness too. Discover extra coolness in your smoke. Let Cool come through for you. You'll be smoking cool all the time once you come up to Cool.
Come all the way up to Cool. Cool Filter Kings.
Top of the fourth inning, the Mets with their lead taken away by the Giants when they score 3 runs in the bottom half of the third. Now they'll come up with Charlie Smith as their leadoff batter. Charlie Smith, Bobby Klaus, and Chris Cannizzaro to bat against Jack Sanford, who now has gone in front. Jack has given up 3 runs. He has allowed 3 hits, struck out 4 and walked 1. Got 3 of his strikeouts in the second. Charlie batting for the second time. He singled to center field to drive in a run his last time up. And the first pitch to Charlie is a called strike. Charlie scoring around a throw the bunt, taking the pitch. Charlie had a good hitting day yesterday, hit the ball well, got 1 for 4 and drove in 2 runs. And here today he has a base hit in 1 time up to drive in a run. Pitch back, curveball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Charlie last year when he joined the Mets got off to a slow start. He was 0 for 26, and this year again he's off to a very slow start. 6 hits and 35 times up. 1-1 delivery. Fouled out of play. That moves the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gary Kroll still throwing in the bullpen very easily now, just in case manager Casey Stengel can go to a pinch hitter. Pitcher is the 4th man due up this inning. One ball, 2 strikes. Sanford, a meticulous worker, taking a long study of the signs by his catcher, Tom Haller. Now he goes into the windup, kicks, and the pitch is fouled down in the dirt. Breaking pitch again, the count at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sanford is 35 years of age. Resides in Prospectville, Pennsylvania. Born in Wellesley, Massachusetts. He was originally signed by the Phillies. Now the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed the curveball. Strike 3, and Sanford has his 5th strikeout. That brings up Bobby Klaus. Bobby fouled out his first time up, so he is 0 for 1. Right-hand batter playing at second base. News on Ron Hunt is that he is coming along in fine style and should be able to play when he joins the ball club in Houston. The first pitch is a fastball, strike 1. Ron missing just about all the spring training and, of course, the first part of the season. He's had tendonitis of his middle finger of his right hand. The pitch back is strike 2. 0-2 on Bobby Klaus. Now Sanford back again. And a 2-strike delivery looked at, strike 3. So Sanford now with 3 strikeouts in a row, picking up his last man in the third, his first 2 here in the top of the 4th. He struck out 3 in a row in the second. Right down the line, getting Canizero, Tom Parsons, and Johnny Lewis. Giants lead 4-3 with 2 away in the top of the 4th. And the batter is Chris Canizero. And his first pitch is swung on. A curveball, strike 1. Sanford with a good breaking curve. Jack started pitching back in 1948. His first year in the major leagues, 1956. He comes back with a slider. It's low, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last year with the Giants, he was 5-7. Next pitch back, slowly hit down towards second base. Hal Lanier comes in, picks it up, throws to first base. Pat retires aside. 1-2-3 for Jack Sanford, and the score at the end of 3.5, the Giants 4, the Mets 3. Getsy boat isn't something you row or sail. You sing it like this.
Jedzie Bot is a song that gets sung over and over at Polish parties and picnics until the singers raise a fearful thirst. Then they change their tune. Piwo is the traditional Polish call for beer, and often it's Wrangel Extra Dry they call for. In fact, in New York City, where there are more Poles than in all of Świdnica, more people drink Wrangel than any other beer. And Wrangel is going great in New Jersey, New England, and Pennsylvania, too. Why do Polish Americans like Wrangel? We don't know. But we must be doing something right.
Bottom half of the 4th, the Giants coming up against Tom Parsons. Tom has given up 4 runs, allowed 7 hits. The Giants breaking through to take the lead in the bottom half of the 3rd. They scored 3 runs and 4 hits. To take it away from the Mets, who were leading at the time by a 3-1 score. First man up for the Giants will be Hal Lanier. He'll be followed by Jack Sanford and then Jose Pagan. Hal, a right-hand batter, batting at 125. He has 4 hits and 32 times up this year. He grounded out for the shortstop his first time up, hit into a 4th play. forcing Tom Haller at second base. And the first pitch by Parsons, a curve breaking 2 low, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Giants 4 runs, 7 hits. The Mets 3 runs and 3 hits. Parsons back again. A fastball looped into center field. Hickman coming in. He's right there, and he makes the catch. 1 away on the fly ball to Jim in center, and it brings up Jack Sanford. Jack wearing number 33, shedding the jacket in the on-deck circle. He is 0 for 1 today. Bounced back to the pitcher in the second. .250 batter in the season, 1 hit and 4 times up. Jack is a strong hitter. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark. You have to be careful with him. And the first pitch by Parsons, fastball, a hard swing, a foul ball out of play. Well, something happening here that you don't see too often. There's a shirt sleeve crowd in the sunshine. Sun shining on the right field side. On the left field side, see a few coats. Temperature due to get around 80. 1 strike delivery. Looked at, strike 2. Tom Parsons working here in the bottom half of the 4th. The Giants leading 4-3. And the right-hander back to Sanford. Way inside with a breaking pitch. Sanford has to fall down to get out of the way. It was a curveball. Wouldn't have hurt if it had hit him. But instinct took over, and he just bailed out and got down on the ground. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now Parsons into the windup. His pitch back. Check swing, and he checked in time. Ball 2. He went around pretty far, but held off, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's one of the hardest calls that an umpire has to make in a ball game. The check swing. Usually they'll ask for some help from the first base umpire. It's not required, but they sometimes do. 2-2 delivery. A check swing. This time a foul ball. Ball going out of play. Wind picking up in velocity now toward right field. It comes in on schedule. About 3 o'clock it starts to blow here, and blows usually until about 9:30. Now the 2-2 delivery. It is bounced toward short. Going to his left is Roy McMillan. He comes up with it, throws to first base, and that makes 2 away. Brings up Jose Pagan. Two games in the National League, Cincinnati defeated St. Louis 6-3. The winning pitcher Sammy Ellis with help from McCool. Robinson had 2 home runs. Pinson had 1 for the Reds. And Chicago defeated Milwaukee 3-1. The winning pitcher Bob Buell with help from Abernathy. No home runs in that game. Also scheduled in the National League, Pittsburgh at Houston and Philadelphia at Los Angeles. When the Mets return home, they open up on May 4th with a night game against Philadelphia. First pitch to Pagan is inside. It's ball 1. The American League, in 12 innings, Boston over Baltimore 7-5. Detroit over Minnesota in 9, 7-4. Angels defeated New York 6-3. The Yankees losing to Dean Chance, a 6-hitter. Tim Bowden, the losing pitcher. Cleveland defeated Kansas City 4-1, and Chicago defeated Washington 6-2. Next pitch is looked at it. Strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Right here, the Giants 4, the New York Mets 3. Two away, bottom half of the 4th, as Tom Parsons works to Jose Pagan. He has 1 hit and 2 times up, and he has scored a run. And the right-hand batter takes a curve. It's outside. Down around the knees, 2 balls, 1 strike. Tom now looking around towards center field, roughing up the ball. Ball game got off to a fast pace and now has settled down just a trifle. 2-1 delivery. Inside, ball 3. Pagan checking with the third base coach. Charlie Fox for the hitter take sign. Charlie, incidentally, went to James Monroe High School in New York. Same school that Ed Kranepool and Hall of Famer Hank Greenberg went to. 3 balls, 1 strike. And the pitch. In there. He was taking all the way. Strike 2. Throw a full count to Jose Pagan, the on-deck batter, Matty Alou. And the delivery is back and hit back to the pitcher. He takes it on 1 hop. Ball is hit well. Throws to first base, and that retires the side. 1-2-3 for the first time in the ball game for Tom Parsons. And the score at the end of 4, the Giants 4, the New York Mets 3. And now, once again, here's Bob Murphy.
Okay, Ralph, you know the brand new 1965 Mets yearbook is fresh off the presses and all set for you. And you'll find as you thumb through the pages of this handsome book that it has all the up-to-date facts and figures about the amazing Mets. In addition, 258 action photographs. The lifetime records of all the Mets, including the first-year men, are there in complete detail. Special bonus, a full squad picture on the back cover suitable for framing. And as you would imagine, a lot of attention devoted to the newest members of the Mets, future Hall of Famers Yogi Berra and Warren Spahn, dressed up with a lot of pictures. To get the new 1965 Mets yearbook, send in 50 cents to Mets Yearbook, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. Remember, that's 1965 Mets yearbook. Send in 50 cents to Mets Yearbook, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. Right here, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
This is WGY Schenectady, 810 on your dial, where the time is 29 minutes past 6 o'clock.
Well, I've never talked to a happier young man than Ron Swoboda was this morning. And certainly he had every right to such a wonderful feeling. Ron came up in the 9th inning with New York 4 behind last night as a pinch hitter and belted his 3rd home run. His 2nd pinch home run to tie a Mets club record. So Ron has 3 home runs and only 11 times at bat. That's quite a ratio. And the pitch is out on the outside corner for a called strike. Ron Swoboda is batting for Tom Parsons. Ron now is only 1 behind the National League lead in home runs. A swing and a miss, and the count strike 2.
This is Swoboda hitting for Parsons.
Jack Sanford settling into a real strong groove. The Mets got 2 runs in the first, 1 in the 3rd. Ground ball bounced slowly towards second base. Lanier comes in. He's up with it. Pegs to McCovey in time, and Ron Swoboda has been thrown out. Since Eddie Kranepool's home run that put New York in front 3-1, Sanford has settled to retire 6 straight hitters. Meanwhile, the Giants came back against Tom Parsons to get 3 runs in the last of the 3rd inning, and they lead New York 4-3. The game is in the top half of the 5th inning. Johnny Lewis up. Johnny 1 for 2. Fastball a strike on the outside corner. Jack Sanford and Bob Shaw combined for a victory against Al Jackson and the Mets last Sunday at Shea Stadium. It's fouled off by Johnny Lewis. Johnny singled to right and later scored in the opening inning and kept his streak going. He sits safely in all 10 ball games that he's played. Sanford settling into a good groove has spanned 6 men and 4 1/3. Foul tipped. He barely got a piece of a breaking ball, and the count strike 2. Doubleheader tomorrow. Al Jackson and Warren Spahn pitching against Juan Marichal and Bob Boland. The Mets will be pitching southpaws, the Giants working with right-handers. The Giants have only 1 left-hand pitcher on their staff, and that's Bob Henley. They have 2 left-handers at Tacoma that might very well be brought into the picture. Dick Estelle and Al Stanek. Now the pitch on the way. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Giants also remain hopeful that Masanori Murakami, promising young left-hander from Japan who was with the Giants in the latter part of last year, will eventually join the team. The 1-2 delivery. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. He got Johnny to go for a bad pitch. One of the few times that Lewis has chased the ball. So Burley Jack Sanford hangs up his 7th strikeout. 2 outs and nobody on. The batter, Roy McMillan. Max sacrificed his turn at bat to help build a run in the first and actually raced all the way to second when the ball was thrown away by Willie McCovey. And then Mack later scored. McMillan grounded out short to first in the 3rd inning. Now, Roy McMillan is a Texas cattle rancher, and he really looks it. Here's the windup pitch to McMillan. It's over the letters for a called strike. Mack has about 55 head of Black Angus on his ranch outside Bonham, Texas. They also have some Angora ghosts, but their primary objective is to clear the brush, which they do very well. Pitch is over, a breaking ball, strike 2 called. That part of the country, you don't raise the ghosts for sale, although you can. They're very valuable for helping to keep things clear. 2-strike delivery off the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mets trail by a run as they hit against Sanford here in the top half of the 5th inning. Giants 4 runs, 7 hits and 1 error. The Mets 3-1. A ground ball wrapped to shortstop. Jose Pagan digs it out of the dirt. The peg across to McCovey, and the Mets are out. 1-2-3. So since Eddie Cranepool's home run, Sanford has retired 8 straight. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. We've come 4 1/2, and at the end of 4 1/2 innings to score, the Giants 4 and the New York Mets 3. And now a word from Cool Filter King.
More and more smokers are discovering that there's one cigarette that gives you something no other cigarette offers. That cigarette is Cool Filter Kings, the only cigarette that gives you rich tobaccos, Cool's white filter, and extra coolness.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough
until you change to Cool.
Just not tasting cool enough
Till you come up to Cool.
with rich tobacco's Cool's white filter, extra coolness too.
Discover extra coolness in your smokes.
Let Cool come through for you. You'll be smoking Cool all the time once you come up to Cool.
Discover extra coolness. Come all the way up to Cool. Cool Filter Kings.
Gary Kroll is in to hurl now for New York. Gary was the starting pitcher in the game last night and would have suffered a loss, but the Mets took him off the hook. By roaring from far behind, they were 6 runs behind going to the 8th inning. But Casey's Mets got 2 in the 8th and 4 in the 9th inning and tied the game, and then won the game in the 11th, 9-8. Gary, after beating the Giants in his initial outing, was wild in the game last night. He walked 2, left the game in the 1st inning, and was charged with 4 runs. He went on down to the bullpen after he left the game to work with Warren Spahn. Warren felt that Gary was not unlocking his hips and not striding and aiming in the right direction. So this will be Gary Kroll's first relief appearance after 2 starts. And Matty Alou, 2 for 2 in the ball game, leads off in the last of the 5th inning. Charlie Smith in close at 3rd against Alou. Gary out of his windup, the pitch, breaking ball over, strike 1 call. Gary is a hard thrower. He considers himself primarily a fastball pitcher, and he does throw hard. Spahn has been working with him to try and use his breaking ball more because he has a good curveball. Change up, a fly in the air to right field. Back goes Lewis, fairly deep, and he's got it. Johnny Lewis had to go back to the edge of the warning track to pull that one down, hit by Matty Alou, and it carried a lot better than we thought it would at first. One away in the Giant fifth inning. That brings up McCovey. Stretch has reached on a fielder's choice and fly to center, nothing for two. This fly to center, by the way, put Jim Hickman right back against the fence, 410 feet away. Giant left-hand batter. The pitch by Kroll. He bunts the ball into the air, foul, and out of play. Boy, there's one. Willie McCovey trying to bunt for a base hit. One out and nobody on. Bottom half of the fifth inning. Gary Kroll, 6'6.5" right-hander, winds and pitches. Real good curve breaking into McCovey. It's over, strike two. Gary left the game in the first inning last night with one out. Bethke came in, got the side out after giving up a home run to Hart. When Galen Cisco became the unsung hero, he came in and held the Giants in check. Breaking ball low and inside, and it nicked him. Down to first base goes McCovey. That was a breaking ball thrown off speed. And Gary Kroll and Chris Cannizzaro are arguing with umpire Ken Burkhardt. Neither Kroll nor Cannizzaro is convinced that the ball grazed the uniform of Willie McCovey. Galen Cisco, looking better than he has at any time since the start of spring training, gave up one earned run over the 5 innings that he worked, but he held the Giants in check and gave the Mets a chance to fight back into the ballgame. Here's the pitch on the way. Willie Mays takes low and outside, ball one. Willie has grounded out to short and singled home a run. The RBI for Willie is 7th. Willie is the Giant leader in runs batted in. Low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Willie batting .342. He had an even faster start a year ago. Eddie Kranepool holding against McCovey, 1 out. The pitch by Kroll, way outside, ball 3, and Gary now is behind on Mays, 3-0. Jesus Alou is red hot, waiting on deck. Now let's see if they give him the green light. They do. A ground ball hit toward the hole. A base hit by Willie Mays. McCovey goes down to second. He'll stop there. And Willie, hitting 3-0, punches a ground single through the hole into left field. Now Casey sends the sign down to the bullpen, and Frank Larry will start warming up. Giants have a threat now. McCovey on second, Mays on first, and 1 out. The batter is Jesus Alou. Jesus has 2 for 2 and has knocked in a run. He's batting .410, takes a breaking ball over, strike 1 called. Fans come up to Cool for the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Smoke Cool Filter King. The breaking ball is looked at again by Jesus, and it's over for a called strike. Mets have the infield hoping for the shot at 2. Bobby Klaus fanned towards second against Jesus. Jesus, just 22 years old, and he already has a full season behind him as a Giant regular. Foul tipped, and the ball catches Chris Cannizzaro. Chris bounces right up. He's all right. Trainer Gus March coming out to make sure that Cannizzaro is okay. Chris is going to take a stroll to have a moment to get the feeling a little better. Gus talks to him and is convinced that Chris is okay, and now Gus comes back to the dugout. We'll bring you right up to date on all the scores of the other ball games around the major leagues with the details at the end of the inning. Jim Ray Hart is the on-deck batter, and then Tom Haller. Mets had the early lead. They led 3-1 after Kranepool homered in the third. But the Giants dug in against Tom Parsons and scored 3 in the last of the third inning. Mays, Alou, and Hart driving runs home. Now Gary Kroll with a 2-strike advantage delivers to Alou. Low and outside. Canizero bluffing a throw to first. Really a bluff because Eddie Cranepool is not holding against the runner because Alou has been hitting the right field a great deal. Jesus, a right-hand batter, but he's been repeatedly drilling the ball through the hole into right field. He's had 2 hits today, and they both have been to right field. Now Gary in pitching position. Delivers to Alou, and he pops it up. He went after a changeup. Canizero is out in front of the plate. Infield fly ruling invoked, and the ball is caught by Canizero. So Gary Kroll gets a tough hitter, and Jesus Alou now will contend with another in Jim Hart. Third baseman Jim Hart has grounded out second to first and reached on a fielder's choice. Nothing for 2. Hart batting .324. He's a very aggressive hitter, much like Jesus Alou. They seldom draw a walk. They're up there swinging away. Now Gary with 2 outs and 2 on delivers. Breaking ball low and outside. So Gary is going with his curveball a great deal more in relief here this afternoon than he did as a starter in the game last night. Giants 4 and the Mets 3, bottom half of the 5th inning. Swing and a miss on a high hard one. He came with a fire ball that time. 1 ball and 1 strike. The doubleheader here tomorrow gets underway at high noon in San Francisco. That's 3 o'clock back in New York. So we'll be on at 5 till 3 with both radio and television of both games of the doubleheader. The 1-1 delivery. High pop-up on the right side of the infield. Eddie Cranepool and Bobby Klaus are there, and it's Klaus who makes the catch. And Wind was making that one a little tricky. The last moment, Klaus had to call Cranepool off, and Bobby takes it. Side retired in the home 5th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. Now 5 innings complete. The Giants 4 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error. They've had 5 left on. The New York Mets 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error. The Mets have had 2 left on. In the American League, a 3-run homer in the 12th inning by Lee Thomas gave the Red Sox a 7-5 thriller over the Orioles. Raditz, the winner in relief, and Stu Miller, the loser, in relief. Now the 6th inning, and Eddie Cranepool is up. The pitch by Sanford is outside and low, ball 1. Eddie kept his streak going when he hit a line drive over the right field fence in the 3rd inning for his 2nd home run of the year. Ball 2, low and outside, 2-0. In Detroit today, Willie Horton homered in the 9th inning to tie the game with Minnesota. And then later, Gates Brown hit a 3-run homer to win it for the Tigers. They beat the Twins 7-4. Sherry was the winner in relief, and Jerry Fosno the loser. Ball 3, it's outside. Sanford behind on the count now, 3-0. At Yankee Stadium, Cy Young Award winner Dean Chance went the route on a 6-hitter as the Angels downed the Yankees, beating Jim Bouton 6-3. Former Yankee Ralph Terry won his 2nd ball game. He combined with Gary Bell as Cleveland beat Kansas City 4-1. Fred Talbot was the loser in relief of Mo Drabowski. 3-0 pitch. It's a strike at the knees, 3-1. Rounding out the American League action, Floyd Robinson had the big hit, a 3-run homer, as the White Sox beat Washington 6-2. Bruce Howard, the winner, with Wilhelm in the 7th. Buster Narum, the starter and loser. High drive hit deep to right by Cranepool. It is up, and there it goes. A home run. Eddie Cranepool has tied the game with a line drive home run over the right field fence. His 2nd home run of the ball game. Eddie Cranepool now has collected 3 home runs, driven 12 runs in. He now has back-to-back home runs off Jack Sanford. Both have been line drives over the fence and right, and both really tagged. So Eddie Cranepool is off to a tremendous start. 20-year-old first baseman leading the National League in batting, and perhaps is tied for the National League lead in runs batted in. He had started the day in a tie. Now Sanford winding the pitch to Christopher. It's over for a call strike. Last time a member of the Mets hit 2 home runs in a ball game, it was last year when Charlie Smith turned the trick in mid-August. Now Christopher waiting. Low and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sanford had retired 8 straight hitters. The last man to reach base on Sanford had been Cranepool when Eddie homered with a line drive in the 3rd inning. Ground ball hit hard down to 3rd. Jim Ray Hart is up with it. The peg across to McCovey is in time, and Christopher is out. So this ball game is now tied 4-4. The Mets are batting in the top of the 6th inning. This is game 5 of the 18 between the Mets and the Giants this year. The winner of this ball game takes the lead of the season series 3-2. And then a doubleheader tomorrow. Jim Hickman takes Lowen outside, ball 1. Jim had a real good game in that 9-8 thriller last night. He had doubles back-to-back that produced 2 runs. Off-speed pitch is over. 1 ball, 1 strike. One of the things that put Eddie Cranepool into the Mets lineup so quickly his first spring with the ball club was he hit 3 home runs in an exhibition game at Portsmouth. Ground ball foul down the 3rd baseline. The Mets were on the way north, and Eddie hit against the Orioles 3-1 ball game and opened the season in right field. Eddie Cranepool is now hitting .459 with 3 home runs and 12 runs batted in, and this the 11th game of the season. Boy, that is quite a start. Now the pitch on the way. Outside, and the count even 2-2. This is Eddie's 4th year in pro ball. Low and outside. Actually, he's had 2.5 years of pro ball. When he signed coming out of school, he went to Syracuse, Knoxville, Auburn, and then came to the Mets at the end of the year. He was with 4 ball clubs and a half a season. Foul tip into the dirt can't be handled by Tom Haller. 63 was Cranepool's first full season at the age of 18. He played both with the Mets and with Buffalo. A swing and a miss, he struck him out. Hickman fooled by Jack Sanford on a breaking ball. For Sanford, his 8th strikeout. Last year, Eddie played only 15 games at Buffalo. He had started the year and was in a batting slump, and so he was sent to Buffalo. Stayed there 15 ball games, and you'll recall exactly when he came back. He had played a Saturday doubleheader against Syracuse. Played every inning of the doubleheader on Saturday. Flew to New York, arrived at 1 a.m. Sunday, and then Sunday was in the lineup all afternoon. And that was the day the Mets and the Giants played the doubleheader with the second game going 23 innings. If you ever saw a tired young man after 2 days of baseball, it was Ed Cranepool. 1 ball and no strikes on Charlie Smith. Charlie singled in a run in the first. Was struck out in the 4th inning. Charlie drove in 2 big runs last night. Hit hard on the ground down to 3rd, a 1-hopper for Jim Hart. He straightens up, throws to 1st, and the side is out. 1 run, 1 hit. The home run is 2nd of the game by Ed Cranepool. No errors, none left on. At the end of 5.5 innings, the score, the New York Mets 4 and the San Francisco Giants 4. Tom Haller batting 7th in the Giant order, leading off in the last of the 6th inning against Gary Cole. Hits 1 foul down the left field line, no play. Well, Gary started the game last night and appeared to be headed toward a losing role when the Mets bailed him out with a great comeback. The Mets got 2 in the 8th inning and 4 in the 9th to tie the game 8-8. They won the game in the 11th inning on a sacrifice fly by Charlie Smith that scored Joe Christopher. Now Parsons has been taken off the hook, and now Gary is in another ball game where at the moment he's the pitcher of record. Breaking ball inside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike on Tom Haller. Haller singled home a run in the 2nd inning. Fly to left in the 3rd inning. 1 hit and 2 times at bat. Gary with that big windup, the 1-1 pitch. And he slowed up a little after the big motion, got the outside corner, 1-2. 1-2 delivery. Outside in the count evens, 2-2, and that was a real hummer by Gary Kroll. Gary got a haircut in Los Angeles. He doesn't get one of those too often. Now the 2-2 delivery. Changeup hit on the ground down to first. A fair ball handled by Cranepool. He'll take it himself, getting Tom Haller one away. Gary was born in Culver City, California. Until last winter, he had been continuing his education in the off-season, but he agreed with the New York Mets that he needed all the work he could get to try and polish up the rough edges, and so he pitched winter ball. And it certainly appears to have paid off for him. 1 ball and no strikes on Hal Lanier. Now Gary out of his windup. The pitch thrown to Lanier. Breaking ball, a strike on the outside corner. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Radio and television coverage, both games of the Mets tomorrow. They start at 3 p.m. New York time. High fly hit deep to right center. Moving over to his glove side is Jim Hickman. Lewis is there. Side by side, it's Lewis who makes the catch. Right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
You're tuned to WGY Schenectady, your New York Mets station. The time? 2.5 minutes before 7.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner were in the last of the 6th inning in San Francisco. Good battle going, and it's tied up 4-4. Gary Kroll in relief of Tom Parsons winds and pitches. Fastball a strike on the inside corner. Mets had the early lead. They led 3-1 at the end of 2.5. The Giants got 3 in the 3rd inning and went in front 4-3. The Mets tied the game on Cranepool's homer in the top of this inning. It was Eddie's 2nd home run of the game. And it looks like the Mets are going to hit quite a few more home runs this year than they did last. Pitching 1-1 to Jack Sanford. Inside and high. He had to get out of the way of it. It's 2 balls and a strike. Sanford is powerfully built. He's strong, and as Ralph was pointing out, you have to use caution when you face him because he has the power to hit one out. 2-1 delivery. Low and outside, and now Gary is behind on him, 3-1. This is the 2nd inning in relief for Gary Kroll. Frank Larry is on call in the bullpen, but not throwing right now. It's over. Strike 2 at the knees, 3-2. And Sanford didn't like the call by Frank Sikori. Sanford had taken a stride toward first. I said Frank Sikori. It's Ken Burkhardt, beg your pardon. And now Burkhardt's got the mask off. That means the argument's gone about as far as it can. Coming out of the dugout on the run is skipper Herman Frank so that his pitcher won't get thrown out of a ball game. Now Herman Franks comes out. He's not allowed to argue on the decision of the umpire on the pitch. He's merely there to protect his ball player, Jack Sanford, calm him down, and not let him get thrown out of this ball game. The mask came off, and that means it's just about time to end the argument if you want to stay. It's 3-2 on Sanford, and the pitch by Kroll. Foul ball, right straight back into the crowd, no play. Beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. Now the 3-2 pitch. A high pop-up down the right field line. Cranepool's in foul ground. The wind moving it over. He's there. Makes the catch. The side is out. And Sanford is still arguing with Ken Burkhardt. So Sanford fouls out, and he didn't even try to run to first base. He just stayed there and fussed with umpire Burkhardt. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. Sanford's defense, it must be pointed out that the ball was obviously a foul ball. Lindsey Nelson will be with you to detail all the remaining excitement here from Candlestick Park in just a moment. Right now, the score at the end of the 6th, the Mets 4 and the Giants 4. And now a word from Cool Filter King.
Today, most menthol cigarettes are pretty much alike. But here's a wonderful exception. Cool Filter King. You see, only Cools give you rich, mellow tobaccos, Cools white filter, and extra coolness. The most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. So come all the way up to Cool. Discover extra coolness.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough until you change to Cool. Just not tasting cool enough till you come up to Cool. With rich tobacco, Cool's white filter, extra coolness too. Discover extra coolness in your smoke. Let Cool come through for you. You'll be smoking Cool all the time once you come up to Cool.
Discover extra coolness. Come all the way up to Cool. Cool Filter Kings.
We have had quite a discussion here between innings between manager Herman Franks of the Giants and Ken Burkhardt, the umpire behind the plate, concerning the situation a moment ago on the strike call on Jack Sanford. Sanford argued the point to some extent, and of course that's a quick way to get thrown out of a ball game, because if you actually argue that in earnest, and to the extent that the umpire thinks that you are disputing it in earnest, expulsion is mandatory. And that is why Herman Franks came out of the dugout in a hurry to keep his pitcher in the ball game, because expulsion is mandatory for disputing a strike call. And now the umpire is taking quite a riding from the Giant bench, and Franks came out to argue the point, and a spectator has jumped down onto the field, and he is being escorted back up into the stands by the park police, and Bobby Klaus is stepping into the batter's box to lead off for the Mets here in the top half of the seventh. This score tied 4-4. Jack Sanford still in the ball game and on the mound. He delivers to the right-hand batter, and it is fouled off for strike one. 0-1 to count to Bobby Klaus. 6 inning totals in the ball game. For the Giants, 4 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. For the Mets, 4 runs on only 4 hits off Sanford, and 2 of them home runs by Cranepool and 1 error. This pitch is inside low, and Klaus bluffs the bunt. And now Sanford's a little unhappy with that call, as he figures that it should have been called a strike, and he sort of is appealing to anyone that would look. It is a 1-1 count now to Bobby Klaus at the plate. Jack Sanford with the 1-1 delivery. Kicks high, and the pitch is low and away for a ball. 2-1. Jack Sanford is the oldest member of the Giant squad at 35. Tom Haller goes out to the mound now to talk things over. Bob Shaw is working down in the bullpen for the Giants. Haller turns to come back behind the plate. Jack Sanford's first year in the major leagues was 1957. With the Philadelphia Phillies, he won 19 games his first year up. His biggest winning season was 1962, when he won 24 for the pennant-winning Giants. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, hit on the ground up the middle, and the Rooster is right up with it, plays on to first, and just in time. McCovey had to take it on a short hop. There's one away, and that will bring up Chris Cannizzaro. He has been up twice. He struck out swinging, and he grounded out second to first. Cannizzaro is from the Bay Area of San Francisco, a native of San Leandro, and during the off-season he works in a men's clothing shop in San Leandro. Score tied here 4-4 in the top half of the seventh inning. Here's the pitch in there for a called strike. And now the pitch swung on and popped up down the right field line. McCovey retreats, but Lanier calls him off and makes the catch in fair territory. 2 away, and that will bring up the Met pitcher, Gary Crow. Kroll is coming up for his first time in this game. Parsons batted once and was called out on strikes, and Svoboda batted for him the next time up. Kroll has been up 3 times this year, and he's had 2 base hits. That was against the Giants last Sunday at Shea Stadium in New York. Sanford has the side, and here's the pitch to the big right-hand batter. Swung on, hit on the ground to third, charged by Jim Rayhart. Comes up with it, plays on, and just in time to get Gary Crow. So the side is out in order with no runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. The score at the end of 6.5 innings is the Mets 4 and the Giants 4. And if you've been wondering what Swedish Americans sing after the smorgasbord, listen to this.
Is a song that Swedish Americans sing over and over at their parties and picnics until they raise a fearful thirst. Then they change their tune. Halon Gore is a traditional Swedish drinking song, and often the beer they drink is Rheingold Extra Dry. In fact, in New York City, where there are more Swedes than in all of Husqvarna, more people drink Rheingold than any other beer. And Rheingold is going great in New Jersey, New England, and Pennsylvania, too. Why do Swedish Americans like Rheingold? We don't know. But we must be doing something right.
In the bottom half of the 7th inning, the San Francisco Giants will be sending up Jose Pagan, Matty Alou, and Willie McCovey to face right-hander Gary Kroll. The Mets got off to an early start this afternoon by picking up 2 runs in the top of the first, but the Giants came back to get 1 in the second and 3 in the third. Mets, meanwhile, had picked up 1 in the third and 1 in the sixth, and the score is tied. There have been 2 home runs in the ball game, both by Ed Kranepool of the New York Mets. Pagan coming up now has grounded out, lined a single to right, and grounded out pitcher to first. Wind is blowing stiffly out toward right field here at this moment. Kroll looks in to get a sign from Chris Canizero. And the pitch. The breaking ball inside and high for ball 1. Charlie Smith is even with the bag at third for the Mets. Pitch is in there for a called strike. 1-1 now to Jose Pagan, the leadoff man in the Giant batting order. Mets have the defense shaded toward left. Playing Pagan to pull. Here's a swing and a foul ball. Back of third. Going out of play. Runs the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Pagan. That ball ricocheted on down into the Met bullpen where it was picked up by Met pitching coach Warren Spahn. He's a busy man. You know, sometimes you might think that when a man gets to be 44 years of age, as Warren Spahn did yesterday, and when he has the accomplishments and achievements to his credit that Spahn has, that he might get just a little blasé about the game of baseball. But I have never seen a man who is bubbling more about the New York Mets and the day-by-day baseball games than Spahn. Here's a pitch in there for a called strike 3. Struck him out. Kroll picks up his first strikeout. Parsons didn't strike out anybody during his tenure. And now Matty Alou is coming up. He executed a drag bunt for a base hit in the first inning. He looped a single to right for a base hit in the third inning, and he lined out to Johnny Lewis in right in the 5th inning. So he's 2 for 3 this afternoon. We hope that you enjoy these broadcasts of the Mets games, and we hope you'll enjoy Rheingold beer along with the game. The pitch is low for a ball. Alou bluffs the bunt. He is hitting right now .429. Kranepool is hitting .459. Kranepool leading the National League in batting. Matty Alou was signed for a bonus of $200, which is fairly reasonable when you consider the bonuses that are paid these days. His brother, Jesus Alou, was paid $1,500. Here's a pitch high and away. On the other side of the ledger, Gaylord Perry was paid $90,000. Hal Lanier between $50,000 and $75,000, including a job for his dad, Max, who now manages the Giant Club at Lexington, North Carolina. 2-0 is the count to Matty Alou as he backs out to take a look down at the sign man, Charlie Fox, at third. Against the speed of Alou, Charlie Smith on the grass at third. Kroll's pitch is right in there for a called strike. 2-1.
There is one man out and nobody on base. The score is tied. The Mets 4 and the Giants 4. Gary Crow with the 2-1 pitch. It's high and away as Alou again moved up and bluffed the bunt. Runs the count out to 3-1 now. Willie McCovey is waiting on deck for the Giants here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. The 3-1 delivery. Fired right in for a called strike 2. It's a full count now at 3-2. Today's paid attendance here in San Francisco is 14,702. 14,702 paid. Here's a swing and a miss, and Cole gets another strikeout on a payoff pitch. Breaking ball, and he had Matty Alou all the way around. So Cole is struck out for Gunn and Alou successively, and Willie McCovey's coming up. Hit into a fourth play fly to center and was hit by a pitch ball. Gary Kroll deals a pitch to big stretch. It's fouled back into the seats and out of play for strike 1. Cookie Lavagetta on the coaching line for the Giants at first base. He spent 2 years as a coach with the New York Mets. Strike 1 delivery to McCovey, and it swung on and fouled off. So now Kroll goes ahead with a 2-strike count to Willie McCovey. You know, during his entire minor league career, this fellow's name was pronounced, and he pronounced it McCovey. And he pronounced it McCovey when he came to the major leagues, but nobody else did, and he finally just gave up and said, all right, call it McCovey. So everybody does. He used to tell you that it rhymed with anchovy. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Swung on and missed, and Gary Kroll has struck out the side. Striking out for God, Matty Alou and Willie McCovey in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. Score at the end of 7 full innings. It's the Mets 4 and the Giants 4. And now let's check on scores of other games. In the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies again tonight will be down in Los Angeles to take on the Dodgers. Johnny Padres last night shut out the Phils, and that's good news for Dodger fans. If Padres has indeed returned to form, can you imagine that pitching staff of Koufax, Padres, Osteen, and Drysdale? Tonight, the Pittsburgh Pirates play the Houston Astros at the Dome Stadium in Houston. This afternoon, the Cincinnati Reds defeated the St. Louis Cardinals 6-3 as Sammy Ellis started and got the win. He got help from Bill McCool in the ninth. Tracy Sallet started and was the loser for the Cardinals. Steve Carlton in the 6th, Ron Taylor in the 6th, and Washburn in the 7th. Frank Robinson had 2 home runs, and Vader Penson had 1 for the Reds. The Chicago Cubs defeated the Milwaukee Braves 3-1. Bob Buell started and got the win with Ted Abernathy relieving in the 7th. Tony Cloninger started and took the loss for Milwaukee. Hank Fisher in the 5th, and Osinski in the 7th inning. Over in the American League, in 12 innings, the Boston Red Sox beat the Baltimore Orioles 7-5. Earl Wilson started, but Big Dick Raditz came in the 7th and was the winning pitcher for the Red Sox. Milt Pappas started, relieved by Rowe in the 1st, Durrett in the 6th, and Stu Miller in the 8th, and Miller was the loser for the Orioles. Orsino had a homer. Thomas had 1 in the 12th with 2 on, and Brandt had 1 in the 12th with nobody on for Baltimore. The Detroit Tigers beat the Minnesota Twins 7-4. Reagan started, Searle in the 9th, and Larry Sherry came on in the 9th and was the winner for the Detroit Tigers. Dick Stigman started for Minnesota. Perry in the 3rd, Clipstein in the 4th, Nelson in the 8th, Fosno in the 9th, Worthington in the 9th, homers by Allison, Dimmoner, Horton again, and Brown with the 3-run homer in the 9th. Gates Brown with the 3-run homer to win it. The Dodgers beat the Yankees 6-3. Dean Chance the winner, and Jim Bouton the loser. Cleveland beat Kansas City 4-1. Terry the winner, Talbot the loser. And the White Sox beat Washington 6-2. Howard the winner, Narum the loser. Now here's a pitch to Johnny Lewis, and he swings and misses for strike 1. We're starting the top half of the 8th inning here. Lewis opened up the ballgame with a ground single and later scored to keep his hitting streak alive at 10 straight games. Since then, he has struck out twice. Sanford's been throwing Lewis a lot of off-speed pitches. Strike 1 delivery. That's an off-speed pitch low, and it's 1-1. Waiting on deck is Roy McMillan for the Mets. Jim Ray Hart's on the grass at third base against the speed of Johnny Lewis. 1-1 delivery. Swung on and foul back into the seats and out of play. It's 1-2. Big Sunday doubleheader here tomorrow. Mets and the Giants split a Sunday doubleheader last Sunday in New York, and so tomorrow they'll be playing on the second successive Sunday with a twin bill. Starts out here at high noon. Means it start in New York at 3 p.m. We'll be on the air at 2:55 tomorrow. There's a swing and a high pop on an off-speed pitch. It's to right field. Jesus Lou is over there underneath, and he makes the catch. One away, and now Roy McMillan. Pushed a bunt to the right side in the first inning, and McCovey threw it away. And then he's counted out twice, short to first. So officially, he's nothing for two. Mets took no batting practice, no infield practice today. Pitch is in there for a called strike. Because of the fact that last night's game didn't end until 12:20. So by the time they got back to town and had a bite to eat, it was 2 a.m. So Casey suspended batting practice and infield practice for today's game. Here's a pitch in there for a called strike. 2-strike count to McMillan. One man out and nobody on base. Ed Cranepool's on deck. Here's a 2-strike delivery. Swung out, hit in the air to center. Willie Mays races over, pounds the glove, and puts it away. He had to sort of reach out a foot or so and haul it in after he had touched. 2 men out, and Cranepool's coming up. He's had home runs in each of his last 2 times, leading the National League at bats with a mark of 459. And you hear a little stirring around in the stands as he is announced. Jack Sanford with the pitch. And it's low for a ball. Cranepool has 3 home runs to his credit so far this season. Sanford's pitch. Outside. It's 2-0. He's working carefully to Ed Cranepool, who looks down to Don Hefner to see if he's taking. The Mets 4, the Giants 4. Pagan has been moved all the way over to the second base side of the bag. Shortstop Pagan has been moved way over, and Lanier's in short right field. The pitch is in there. So this is what you'd call the Cranepool shift, and it's the first time I've ever seen it. The Giants have McCovey guarding the line deep at first. They have Lanier retreating about 5 yards deep on the outfield grass, and Pagan behind the bag. Here's a pitch low. 3-1 is the count to Ed Cranepool. Pagan can't find out where they want him to play. Now he moves further on over, and they exaggerate the shift as they move Lanier on back into short right. What a place for a drag bunt. Here's a pitch high. Instead, they walk him. With all the defense, he draws a base on ball. So the Mets get a base runner, and Joe Christopher's coming up. That's the second walk issued by Stanford. The other one was an intentional pass to Joe Christopher, and that was in the first inning. Strangely enough, day by day, that would not be a good defense against Ed Cranepool at all. Because Cranepool goes with the pitch pretty well, and many of his base hits go to the opposite field. Christopher's up there. Cranepool leads at first. Here's a swing and a drive into left center field for a base hit. Cranepool on second. He's on his way to third. Mays up with the ball. The throw goes to second. Cranepool pulls up safely at third, and Christopher's on at first with a line single to left. That is only the 5th hit for the Mets off Jack Sanford, but it gives them runners at first and third. And Cookie Lavagetto is on his way to the mound. Coach Cookie Lavagetto of the Giants going to the mound. They have Bob Shaw warmed up in the bullpen. it could be that the Giants aren't going to go very far with Jack Sanford here. Sanford would not want to leave in these circumstances because if he does, he cannot possibly be the winning pitcher, no matter what happens. And he could be the losing pitcher because he would be responsible for the men on base. Lavagetta is talking to him. Haller is there. The entire infield, with the exception of McCovey, is there. But Cookie was sent out with orders to make a change, and he makes it with Bob Shaw coming in. So Sanford will go out of the ball game here. And the indication from that is that the Giants don't go very far with Jack Sanford because he has only walked one man, other than an intentional pass, and he can reach for only 5 hits. Lavagetta was sent out by manager Herman Frank to make the change. Sanford has pitched 7 2/3 innings, in which he has given up 4 runs on 5 hits. He has struck out 8 and he's walked 2, and he's getting a hand as he comes out of the game. He's not happy, and he is talking to Cookie Lavagetta coming across. Cookie turns now and is called up by Willie McCovey to say a word. Bob Shaw, a native of Garden City, Long Island. Here's the pitcher. Bob Shaw came to the major leagues with the Detroit Tigers. His best year was 1959 with the Chicago White Sox, their pennant-winning year, when he won 18 games. The Mets have Jesse Gonder now on deck. So Casey Stengel is going to his bench to send up a left-hand batter, Jesse Gonder, and he is sending Billy Cowan down to the bullpen to loosen up. It'll be Gonder hitting for Hickman, and then he's loosening up Cowan to go into center field in the next inning. So Casey is making his bid here in the top half of the 8th to get a run with the score tied 4-4. Cranepool is the runner at third base, and Joe Christopher is the runner at first base with 2 men out. You may recall that last night Jesse Gonder delivered a home run in the 9th inning as he followed Ron Swoboda, who had just hit a home run. So Swoboda and Gonder hit him back-to-back last night. Gonder is a native of the Bay Area of San Francisco. He attended McClymonds High School in Oakland. And guess who's warming up Cowan down in the bullpen? The man who does everything on this ball club, Warren Spahn, the pitching coach. He's done just about everything he can do, in addition to pitching some of the finest baseball you'd ever care to see. He was saying that with the Milwaukee Braves one year, he had a left-handed catcher's glove made up, but Charlie Dresden wouldn't let him take it on the field. Told him to put it in the locker and leave it there. Bob Henley and Frank Lindsay are warming up in the bullpen now for the Giants. As Jesse Gonder steps into the batter's box now, Shaw is warmed up. Shaw is a right-hander. You work off the stretch, and his stretch here is the stance of having that ball at the belt when you take the sign and throwing right from there. He is looking in now. Runners lead at first and third. He sets. Here's the pitch. Way outside for a ball. Score tied 4-4. Gonder batting for Hickman. Jess has been Casey Stengel's #1 pinch hitter this season. He's the man the old professor looks for when he needs somebody up there. Runners lead first and third. The 1-0 pitch to Gonder. Swung on and missed. All the way around. He was swinging for distance. It's 1-1. Herman Franks was wearing a jacket earlier in the afternoon. He has shed that. And the heat of the day's combat. Charlie Smith on deck for the Mets. Bob Shaw sets. And here's the pitch. Swung on a high hopper towards second, and it is taken by McCovey. He cuts it off and plays it over in time. And he is out as Gonder has to hang on to the pitcher, Bob Shaw, who took the toss. And it's a good thing that McCovey got over to cut it off because the second baseman was too deep. They play him out on the outfield grass regularly, but Gonder grounds out. 3-1 if you're scoring, and in the top of the eighth, the Mets got no runs. They had 1 hit, 1 walk, no errors, 2 left. Score at the end of 7.5 innings. There's the Mets 4 and the Giants 4. And here's a helpful driving tip from the makers of Super Shell, the good mileage gasoline.
The sound of power? Don't you believe it. That car is trying to warn you that it may be dangerous to drive. Here's a tip from local Shell dealers on what this warning can mean and what to do about it.
That was a car with a leaking muffler. It's not only annoying, it may even be illegal, and it is always dangerous. That's because a leaking muffler releases harmful exhaust gases. These gases can then seep into the passenger compartment where they can make you ill or even drowsy at the wheel.
So if you suspect a leaking muffler, take your car into your Shell dealer right away for a check of the exhaust system. Let him make the needed repairs. And soon a car that sounds like this will sound like this. That's the real sound of safe power. The sound you want to hear from your car. Remember, at Shell stations, service is our business.
For the Giants in the bottom of the eighth, Willie Mays is up to lead off. Gary Kroll into the windup, and the pitch to the right-hand batter is low in the dirt for a ball. Gary Kroll struck out the side in the bottom of the seventh, getting Pagan, Matty Alou, and Willie McCovey. Willie Mays is 2 for 3 in this game today. He has driven in 1 run and scored 1 himself. Willie with a current batting average of .359. Gary Kroll with the pitch to Willie. And it's high, so he goes behind Mays, 2-0. Waiting on deck is Jesus Salou. Gary Kroll with a 2-0 delivery. Swung on and popped up into right field. A long run in for Johnny Lewis, and Klaus is back there, and did anybody get it? Nobody got it. It was dropped, and Mays is at second base. Johnny Lewis and Klaus both tried for it just near the line, and it fell in, and Mays is at second base. Scored as a double for Willie. It was a sky-high pop down the line. Cranesville went back. Lewis came in, and Klaus cut over. Both Klaus and Lewis stabbed at it, and the ball was off the glove of both. But Mays has a leadoff double here in a game that is tied. Bottom half of the eighth inning, and now Charlie Fox, the coach at third, wants a word with Jesus Salou. Coming up next. Alou is 2 for 3, and he's batted in 1 run and scored 1 today. He's a right-hand batter. Mets play Jesus Salou straight away. Gary Kroll's pitch, and it's inside for a ball. Jesus just shortened up a little and bluffed, but didn't offer. Waiting on deck is Jim Ray Hart. So Gary Kroll has his work cut out for him here in the bottom half of the eighth inning. Mets 4 and the Giants 4. Kroll stepped off the rubber. There's a 1-0 delivery, and it is bunted down the third base line. A good butt. Charlie Smith barehands and throws on in time. He got him. Willie Mays moving on to third. A good play by Charlie Smith at third. The barehand play. He came in, stabbed that ball on the grass, and threw on to Cranesville and got Jesus Salou. But it moved Willie Mays on to third, and that was the purpose of the sacrifice. And Jim Ray Hart is coming up. Hart is nothing for 3 in this game, but he can hit the long ball, and the Giants would like to see him at least get a fly ball to the outfield to score Mays from third. The Mets have to bring the infield in, and they do. One man out, score tied. Crow's pitch, breaking ball a little tight for ball one. Jim Ray Hart had 31 home runs last year. That did not set a club record for Giant third baseman in home runs because that's held by Mel Ott, who played third base 1 year and had 36 home runs. Here's a pitch in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Jim Ray Hart swinging the bat as he waits. Throw with a 1-1 delivery. Swung on, hit on the ground through the hole in the left field base hit. Willie Mays comes on to score. Hart turns and holds as Christopher comes up with the ball, and the Giants go ahead by a score of 5-4. With the infield in, there was no chance to play the ball as it went between McMillan and Smith. Coming up now is Tom Haller, a left-hand batter and catcher, who's 1 for 3. Singled and drove in a run in the second inning. Still only one man out for the Giants, batting here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. It's low for a ball. 1-0 to Tom Haller. Jim Ray Hart on at first, and Cranepool is playing behind the runner there. Here's a 1-0 delivery, and it's high for a ball. So Crow now goes behind to Tom Haller, 2-0. Waiting on deck is Hal Lanier. The sign. Here's the pitch. And it's way inside. So he goes behind 3-0 now to Tom Haller. The flag in center field rippling strongly out toward right now as the wind has picked up a little velocity and now blowing a little dust across the infield. Play is held up for the moment. Here's a 3-0 pitch. And it's outside. He walked him. And as Haller goes to first, we pass the station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network. Giants have runners at first and second. Jim Ray Hart at second base, and Tom Haller at first, having picked up the first walk issued by Crow. And Hal Lanier is the batter. He's 0 for 3. Swing and a drive into the glove of Charlie Smith for 1. Throw to second, but he's back safely. Runners hold, and a low liner's taken off the shoe tops of Charlie Smith for the second out. And Bob Shaw, the pitcher, is coming up. Shaw is a right-hand batter. Gary Crow with a pitch steps over the head of Bob Shaw. He ducks underneath, and it's ball 1. Jim Davenport is heading down to the bullpen of the Giants to loosen up. There's a swing, and the ball's hit in the air to right. Johnny Lewis with a long run. Can he get there? It's a foul ball, and he can't get there. Curved off foul, and Lewis was still several steps away as that was curving away from him. 1-1. The count to Bob Shaw. Giants have 5 runs on 10 hits. The Mets have 4 runs on 5 hits. Shaw steps out of the batter's box. Comes back in. Gary Crow with the pitch. Low and away. Shaw had a notion, laid off. Took it at 2 balls and 1 strike. Kroll has the sign. 2-1 delivery to Shaw. Misses outside. Here's a throw to first, not in time. Canizero fired it down to Cranepool, but Haller was back safely. And now Kroll has gone behind to Bob Shaw, 3-1. Casey Stengel, little concerned, moves around a little in front of the dugout and then goes back in. He has nobody warming up in the bullpen at this moment. Get Frank Larry warm down there a moment ago. Here's a 3-1 pitch. In there for a called strike. Shaw held the arms up and it zipped in underneath in the strike zone. So it's 3-2. This will be a payoff pitch from Gary Kroll to Bob Shaw. Now Kroll steps off the rubber. Checks the runners at first and second. They're going. Payoff pitch is lined into right field for a base hit. Jim Ray Hart comes on to score. Tom Haller moves to third, and Shaw is on with a single to right center field and a run batted in. The Giants now lead 6-4. With the runners going on the 3-2 pitch, Shaw slammed the ladder over the head of second baseman Bobby Klaus. And now Jose Pagan is coming up. Giants 6 and the Mets 4. We're in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Rose pitch to the right-hand batter, hit deep to center, and Billy Cowan retreats. He's there, and Billy Cowan puts it away. But in the bottom of the 8th, the Giants picked up 2 runs on 3 hits. There were no errors and 2 left. And the score at the end of 8 full innings is the Giants 6 and the Mets 4. The Mets will be coming home to open up a homestand at Shea Stadium on the night of May 4th. The Philadelphia Phillies will be in, and it's going to be quite a homestand because in addition to the Phillies, the Milwaukee Braves will be in, the St. Louis Cardinals will be in, and the Cincinnati Reds will be in. So if you'd like to purchase tickets for any of the Met games of that homestand or of any future game to be played by the Mets at Shea Stadium, here's where you can do it. The advanced ticket window at Shea Stadium is open 7 days a week. It's open weekdays from 8 to 6 and on weekends from 9 to 5. There's a Met ticket office in Pennsylvania Station. It's located in the Long Island Railroad waiting room. It's open weekdays from 8 to 6 and on Saturdays from 8:30 to 4. There is a Met ticket office in the Grand Central Terminal at the foot of the 42nd Street and Vanderbilt Avenue ramp. It's open weekdays 8 to 6 and Saturdays 8:30 to 4. For Long Islanders, there is a Mets ticket office at Macy's in Huntington, open during the regular store hours. And reservations can be made for box and reserve seats at any of the Howard clothing stores in the greater New York area. Jim Davenport is now playing third base. That is a defensive move made by the Giants here as we go to the top half of the 9th inning. Davenport for Jim Ray Hart. Charlie Smith is scheduled first up for the Mets here in the top half of the 9th inning. Bob Shaw is still on the mound. And Shaw is the pitcher of record for the Giants right now. Kroll, the pitcher of record for the Mets. And Charlie Smith advances to the plate. He has singled to center to drive in a run. That was in the first inning. He struck out swinging in the 4th and grounded out third to first in the 6th. The Mets are 2 runs down in the top of the 9th. They were a lot more than that down last night as they went to the top of the 9th. Mets finally won it in 11 innings, 9-8. Frank Lindsay and Bob Henley throwing in the Giant bullpen. Bob Shaw has pitched to Smith. He pushes him up to the right side, and now can he beat Shaw to the bag? He can, and he's on. So that is the play to use against the defense of the Giants when they drop that second baseman back on the edge of the grass in right field. You push that bunt to the right side. You make the first baseman play it and beat the pitcher to the bag, and it's a base hit. So the Mets quickly get a leadoff runner, and that's what you look for when you're 2 runs behind. Cleon Jones is coming out now to bat for Bobby Klaus. Well, there might be a lot of method in this move because Cleon Jones is a right-hand batter, but his power is to right field, and that's where the wind is blowing. So when you're 2 runs behind, you want a man who can hit that ball in the air the way that you get the help from the wind. So Cleon Jones is coming up. Jones batting for Bobby Klaus with Charlie Smith at first and nobody out. The Giants leading the Mets by a score of 6-4. Larry Bernard is up and throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. Bob Shaw is up and set. Here's the pitch. It's low inside for a ball. The Giants have moved right field to Jesus Alou over toward the line, but they're playing Mays straight away, so that the big gap is up the alley in right center field. Now the pitch swung on and hit in the air to left field, and moving back is Matty Alou. He's there. He has plenty of room. This pitch is in for a called strike to Canizero. Shaw, of course, working off the stretch. Smith leads at first, and here's the pitch low in the dirt and dug out by Haller. 1-1 to Canizero. McCovey playing behind the runner at first, and here's a pitch swung on, a ground ball off the glove of Shaw, rolls on back towards second. He has no play, and both runners are safe. Canizero's on at first, and Charlie Smith's on at second. This is Danny Napoleon coming in from the bullpen now and shedding the jacket. It is an error charged against Bob Shaw on that ground ball back to the mound. So the Mets have the potential tying runs on base, and Al Jackson is going out to run now for Canizero. It is Jackson running for Canizero at first base. Al Jackson is a pitcher by trade. He'll pitch tomorrow, but one of the fastest men on the squad. He was a track man in college. Casey Stengel is now looking down the bullpen. He wants a left-hand batter, and the only one I see down there is a fellow named Warren Spahn. And Warren Spahn is being brought up here. He's a fellow who does everything, and Warren was a little surprised when he got the call. He's coming in with a jacket on, but Casey Stengel wants Spahn as a pinch hitter, apparently. Warren Spahn has hit more home runs than any pitcher in the history of the National League. He has 36 career home runs, and he's going to be called on here as a pinch hitter by manager Casey Stengel. 44 years old yesterday, has won more games as a pitcher than any left-hand in the history of the game. And nobody's come out of the dugout yet. Napoleon went in there, and so did Spahn, and when somebody comes out, we'll sure tell you. The Giants are leading with a 2-run margin. Shaw is staying warm by firing in the warm-up tosses here. Now Warren Spahn is coming out swinging a bat. So Spahn is going to bat here. He has been up 6 times this year, and he's had 1 hit. It was a double. But Casey Stengel looks for the left-hand batter to go against Bob Shaw, and here is Funny. Gets a hand as he's announced here in San Francisco. One of the legitimate all-time greats in the history of this game. So it is Vaughn batting for Gary Kroll here in the top half of the ninth inning. Charlie Smith at second, Al Jackson at first. Bob Shaw up and set. The pitch to Spahn, and it's in for a called strike. Johnny Lewis is now on deck. He is a left-hand batter. Tomorrow in the Sunday doubleheader, the Met pitchers will be Warren Spahn and Al Jackson. Right now, Jackson's the runner at first, and Spahn's at the plate. Runners lead first and second. Pitch misses high and away for a ball. It's 1-1. Giants shade the defense to right just a little. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit on the ground to first base. McCovey is going for the bag, and both runners move up. So with two men out now, the Mets have runners in scoring position at second and third, and Johnny Lewis coming up. Spahn with the ground ball to McCovey deep to move him along. Johnny Lewis had a ground single and later scored in the first inning. Struck out the next two times, up and slide to right in the eighth. Giants have a conference at the mound. Tom Haller's still there. First base is open. Roy McMillan would be scheduled up after Johnny Lewis. Giants 6 and the Mets 4. But the Mets have runners at second and third. Bob Shaw working straight away, and the pitch to Johnny Lewis is outside for a ball. This is a foul ball as he checked the swing, and it rolled off to the left side. 1-1 to count now to Johnny Lewis. Mets have Dennis Rybat up and throwing in the bullpen also now. Ron Swoboda's working as a bullpen catcher down there. Here is Shaw with a 1-1 pitch to Johnny Lewis. Breaking ball, it missed high and away, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike now to Lewis. Johnny has a season's batting average of .344. The Mets making a bid here in the top half of the ninth inning. Trying to stay alive in this ball game. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball, it missed high and away. So it goes 3-1 now to Lewis. He backs out to take a look at Don Hefner to see if he's going to get a take sign. That's ball 4. While he was looking, it was an intentional pass. So scored as an intentional pass as the catcher moved out to take it. They didn't want to take a chance with Lewis, with McMillan due up, but McMillan's called back, and Danny Napoleon is going to bat for him. Danny Napoleon is batting for Roy McMillan. I can tell you this. If the Mets can get those 2 runs in and send this game into extra innings, that's going to be a very interesting infield that they come up with, because Krause is out of the ball game and so is McMillan. Tom Haller went over to talk things over with the Giant manager Herman Frank. And Napoleon has been up only twice, and he's had 1 hit, so his batting average for the season is .500. Last night he appeared as a pinch hitter and did not get a hit, and his average dropped 500 points, and that's as much as it can drop in 1 appearance. Haller walks all the way to the mound now with Bob Shaw. The Mets have the bases loaded. Danny Napoleon has had 1 year of professional baseball in which he hit .351 with Auburn in the New York Penn League. Right-hand batter, Bob Shaw, goes to work. And the pitch is in there for a called strike. Bob Shaw has been the most effective of the Giant relief hurlers this season. He's working carefully and slowly now. He takes his glove off and is working on the baseball. He goes to the rosin bag now. Bases loaded and 2 men out. Shaw works straight away. The pitch to Danny Napoleon. Swung on and missed. He chased the breaking ball. A 2-strike count now to Napoleon. Shaw has gone quickly ahead. Charlie Smith at third base. Al Jackson at second base. And Johnny Lewis at first base. And here's the 2-strike delivery. Swung on and hit in the air to right. It is deep. And chased back there by Jesus Alou. And he can't get it. It is rolling near the wall. Jackson scores. Lewis scores. The Mets take the lead. And fighting in at third with a triple is Danny Napoleon. Jesus Alou thought for a moment the ball was going over the fence. It was right at the wall. He finally leaped for it. It was off his glove. Rolled around the base of the wall. Willie Mays helped him chase it down. But it's a triple and 3 runs batted in, and the Mets lead by a score of 7-6 here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Casey Stengel's strategy has paid off again here in this series. As the Mets have taken the lead, Cranepool is coming up. But before he does, Cookie Lavagetto is going to the mound to make a pitching change for the Giants. Danny Napoleon's average went right back up. He has 2 for 3 now, and it goes to 6-6-7. Lavagetto has made the change as Shaw is leaving the ball game. And coming in is the left-hander, Bob Henley. He was in there last night briefly. The fact that there were 2 men out and good speed on the bases accounted for the fact that the Mets were able to score 3 runs because they were running with 2 men out on the fly ball, had good speed in Jackson. Charlie Smith, of course, scored easily from third. Good speed with Jackson from second, and excellent speed with Lewis on at first. We paused there for him because the press box PA said Frank Lindsay pitching, but that's hardly true because he's a right-hander and that's a left-hander out there on the mound. That's Bob Henley. He'll be pitching the left-hand batter, Ed Cranepool. That's the move to the left-hand pitcher here. Shaw pitched 1 full inning, 2/3 of this one and 1/3 of the last one. And he's been touched for 3 runs. He's responsible for the runner at third. Given up 2 hits, struck out 9 and walked 1, but he's the pitcher of record at this moment. He contributed an error into the bargain that started off things here as Chris Cannizzaro hit the ball back with Charlie Smith out at first. So Shaw's gone and Henley's here, warming up. And the Mets are leading by a score of 7-6 with 2 men out in the top half of the 9th inning. Cranepool's had 2 home runs in the ball game so far. That was a 2-strike pitch that Danny Napoleon hit. He got it up in the air to right field, and Jesus Alou thought he was going to go out of here as he got back by the fence, and then he stabbed at it, was off his glove. Here's the pitch to Cranepool, and it's in for a called strike. Leon Jones has gone down to the bullpen to loosen up a little now. Left-hand batter, Ed Cranepool, facing left-hand pitcher, Bob Henley. At third base, Davenport's on the edge of the grass. There's a swing and a foul ball. It's strike 2 to Cranepool. Al Lanier, the second baseman for the Giants, is on the outfield grass. That is a regular maneuver that the Giants use of playing that second baseman out there in short right field. And, of course, Charlie Smith pointed his way on to open the top half of the ninth inning. Lanier wasn't playing that deeply against the right-hand batter, but he was way back there. And so when McCovey had to field the ball, there was no play. This pitch is way inside and off the bat of Cranepool. Just ticked it off as he was trying to get out of the way of the tight pitch. Count holds at 2 strikes to Cranepool. The triple by Danny Napoleon to drive in the 3 runs was the first triple for the Mets this season. Henley looked in to get a sign from Tom Haller. And the pitch is swung on and missed. Henley strikes out Cranepool to retire the side. But the Mets picked up 3 runs on 2 hits and an error and 1 left here in the top of the ninth. And at the end of 8.5 innings, it is the Mets 7 and the Giants 6. Can you imagine a Puerto Rican party without music? Don't try. Just listen to this.
Temporal, temporal, que nos mande temporal, 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 que nos mande temporal, que será de Puerto Rico cuando venga temporal.
Temporal is a song Puerto Ricans sing over and over at their parties and picnics until they raise a fearful thirst. Then they change that tune. Seis Choreao is the song a Puerto Rican drinks to. He'll sit down, call for a beer, probably Rheingold extra dry. In fact, in New York City, where there are more Puerto Ricans than in all of San Juan, more people drink Rheingold than any other beer. And Rheingold is going great in New Jersey, New England, and Pennsylvania, too. Why do Puerto Ricans like Rheingold? We don't know. But we must be doing something right.
We're going out of the bottom half of the ninth inning, and Casey Stengel is out there straightening out the lineup of umpire Ken Burkhardt, and it'll take a little straightening up, because here's what's happened. Billy Cowan has been brought in to play second base. Charlie Smith has moved over to play shortstop. Danny Napoleon is in to play third base, and Cleon Jones is in center field. Hawk Taylor is coming out now. He's the lone remaining catcher, and Dennis Rybat is the pitcher. You may recall that Rybat was the winning pitcher in last night's ball game as he held the Giants in check, and they threatened in the final inning, the 11th. Matty Alou is just outside the batter's box. The Giants will be sending up here in the bottom of the ninth Matty Alou, Willie McCovey, and Willie Mays. Well, Billy Cowan played shortstop in a couple of intra-squad games in St. Petersburg. He's playing second base. Danny Napoleon played quite a bit of third base in exhibition competition in Florida. And here is Matty Alou in and waiting to open up the bottom of the ninth with Dennis Rybat on the mound for the New York Mets. Rybat pitch, and it's in there for a called strike. Matty Alou is 2 for 4 in this game. Hawk Taylor's gone out to get checked out now with Rybat. Danny Napoleon is on the edge of the grass at third base. Larry Bernard still throwing in the Met bullpen. Rybat double pumps, and the pitch. It's in there as Matty Alou tried to bunt the fastball, but he couldn't get up on that one. That one was fired in there. So it is 2 strikes now to Matty Alou, trying to drag the ball. Stretch McCovey is waiting on deck. The Mets 7 and the Giants 6. Dennis Rybat with a 2-strike delivery goes to the breaking ball and misses high for ball 1. It's 1-2. Rybat takes a look around now, working on the baseball on the backside of the mound. The Mets with an infielder, Ed Cranepool at first, Billy Cowan at second, Charlie Smith at short, and Danny Napoleon at third. Here is the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled on the right field line, out of play. The count holds at 1-2. We pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
And this is WGY Schenectady, 810 on your dial, where the time is 8 p.m.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California, where the Mets are leading the Giants by a score of 7-6. Matty Alou is at the plate, and Dennis Ryban is on the mound looking for the sign. Now starts the motion for the 1-2 pitch. Swung and line down the right field line. This is a foul ball. That one missed by inches down the right field line. Scattered a few of the Giants down in the bullpen. So the count continues at 1-2. Matty Alou hitting .414 at this moment. Now the 1-2 pitch. A little low, and it's 2-2 to Matty Alou. Herman Frank, the Giant manager, leaning on the side of the dugout. A very concerned gentleman here in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Looks to Hawk Taylor. And here is the 2-2 delivery. Swung on and line to Cowan. He short hops it and plays over in time. What a play by Billy Cowan at second base. That was a line shot on a short hop, and he one-handed the ball, came up and played on to first in time, and is one away. That brings up Willie McCovey. He is nothing for three and hit by a pitch ball here this afternoon. Big stretch. A distance hitter. Hawk Taylor calls time and goes out to the mound now to have a word with Dennis Ryban. Willie Mays moving out to the on-deck circle now for the Giants in the bottom half of the ninth inning. The Mets have 7 runs on 7 hits. The Giants have 6 runs on 11 hits. Rybat now. Tough and pitches. Swung on. It's a ground ball. This one's going to go through in the center field for a base hit. Picked up out there by Cleon Jones and played back, and Stretch McCovey is on at first base. That ball went up the middle, and Cowan at second was playing McCovey to pull. It's Mays coming up now. Willie's had 3 hits today. He's 3 for 4, and he's hitting .375. Bob Schroeder's coming in to run for McCovey. Schroeder is running for McCovey at first base. Casey Stengel is going to the mound. The old professor is going to the mound for a word with his young pitcher, Dennis Rybat, now, before pitching to Willie Mays. Cowan comes in from his position at second. Hawk Taylor goes to the mound. Danny Napoleon is coming over, and Charlie Smith figures he might as well join the conclave. Casey wants to be sure they're checked out now on the situation and what could happen with the Mets leading 7-6. Schroeder has been brought in as the pinch runner. Now the conference breaks up. Casey comes back to the dugout. Willie Mays is in and waiting. Dennis Rybat bends from the waist and gets the side. Off the stretch. The pitch followed him on the ground to shortstop. It's over to second for one, and no relay. They got the force as Charlie Smith played it over to Cowan. Shorter was sliding in. There was no chance to double Mays. But there are two men out now in the bottom of the ninth, and Mays is on at first with Jesus Salou coming up. Willie went for the first pitch. And fourth, Schroeder at second. From Charlie Smith to Billy Cowan. Looking for a sign, but there's Jesus Salou standing in now. Here's a throw over to first, not in time to try to hold Mays close. Again, Willie takes his lead, and Cranepool holds against the run of the pitch, and it's low for a ball. Jim Davenport is on deck for the Giants. Now Rybat with the pitch runner goes, and here's the throw to second, and it is high and goes on out into center field. Willie Mays is coming to third. Cleon Jones returns the ball, and Mays takes two bases and pulls up safely at third. So Mays stole second and went on to third on the throwing error by Hawk Taylor, and quickly the Giants have the potential tying run at third base with two men out. Taylor's throw sailed over the head of Charlie Smith, who was covering, and on out into center field. And Mays continued on to third. So now the Giants have the potential tying run in scoring position at third base with two men out, and Ryban has gone behind to Jesus Salou 2-0. The Mets lead 7-6. Ryban looks in to get a sign. Starts to work. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swung on and missed. It's 2-1. So this one has come right down to the wire here. In the bottom half of the ninth inning. Willie Mays, the base runner at third. Dan Napoleon is guarding the line and trying to hold Mays a little closer, but that's a tough thing to do. Willie's a daring base runner. Rybat starts to pump. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled off to the right side and out of play. The count to Jesus Salou goes 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rybat now gets the return throw, walks back to the back side of the mound. Wind is blowing his uniform a little bit there on the mound as it's rippling out to right field. He's working on the ball and looking over at Mays, who's a few steps off the bag at third. The Mets 7 and the Giants 6. 2-2 the count to Jesus Salou, the right-hand batter at the plate with a closed stance. Rybat with the pitch. Swung on, hit on the ground to shortstop. Charlie Smith has it across the Cranepool, and the game's over. The Mets have won it by a score of 7-6. As Rybat has come on to hold them in the ninth inning. That's the second time he's done that. He doesn't get the win here today. Gary Crow gets the win, but Rybat gets the save as he came on to put out the fire, and the Mets have made it 2 in a row over the Giants, and the Mets have gone ahead in the season series over the Giants, 3-2. The Mets streaming for the locker room now, having taken 2 in a row from the Giants here in San Francisco, and you can bet this is a happy group of New York Mets. The Mets got 7 runs on 7 hits, 2 errors, and 5 left. The Giants got 6 runs on 12 hits, 2 errors, and 8 left. The winning pitcher is Gary Kroll, and the loser is Bob Shaw. Well, here's the way it went. The Mets got off to an early start this afternoon as they got 2 runs off Jack Sanford in the first inning. And it looks as though that they might be able to do the thing that the Giants did last night, get off to an early start. But the Giants came back and got 1 in the bottom of the second. The Mets, meanwhile, picked up another one in the top of the third when Ed Cranepool hit the first of 2 home runs, and the Mets were leading by a score of 3-1. But then the Giants hopped on Tom Parsons in the bottom half of the third inning and picked up 3 runs on 4 hits. They were all singles, but the Giants had the lead. Finally, Parsons, after 4 innings, was removed for a pinch hitter. He had pitched 4 innings, throwing 4 runs on 7 hits, and Gary Kroll came on. Gary Kroll held held the Giants in check until the bottom half of the 8th inning, when Willie Mays' double was sacrificed on over to third, and Jim Ray Hart singled him home, and Tom Haller walked, Lanier lined out, and Bob Shaw singled to drive in Jim Ray Hart, and the Giants had 2 runs, and it looked as though the Giants might be in great shape. Meanwhile, Cranebowl had hit his second home run to give the Mets another run in the 6th inning, so the Mets came to the top half of the 9th inning, trailing by 2 runs. It was then that Charlie Smith bunted the ball to the right side and was on. And Chris Canizero hit the ball back to the mound. It was bobbled by Shaw, and he was safe. Warren Spahn was brought on as a pinch hitter and grounded out to first base, but moved the runners up. An important base for them to move up, because then Johnny Lewis was intentionally passed to load the bases. And Danny Napoleon batted for Roy McMillan and tripled off the base of the wall in right center, scoring 3 runs that put the Mets ahead in the ball game by a score of 7-6. Then Dennis Rybank came on to pitch the ninth and save the game for Gary Crow. So the Mets have won it by a score of 7-6. And the Mets have moved ahead of the Giants in the standings now, as they have moved up with a record of 5 wins and 6 losses, and they have moved ahead of the Giants in the standings. The Mets have also moved ahead of the Milwaukee Braves and the Houston Astros in the standings. They are in 6th place in the National League standings right now. This game was brought to you by Rheingold, New York City's largest selling beer. And what a remarkable thing that is. In New York, a city of so many different people with different tastes, one beer has become the favorite, Rheingold Extra Dry. We don't know why so many people like our beer, but we must be doing something right, and we'll keep right on doing it. Today's game was also brought to you by Kool. Come up to Kool for the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Smoke Kool Filter King. And by the Shell Oil Company, makers of Super Shell, the gasoline for good mileage. Stop at the clean white pump for Super Shell.
In old baseball land, there are no fans so grand as our Mets fans. When we play other teams, no one blood-curdling screams, that's our Mets fans.
But when Mets fans shout,
Go! What they mean, we all know. We've got no place to go but up.
Don't forget to switch your clock ahead tonight, 1 hour as we go to daylight savings time, and be with us tomorrow at 2:55 p.m. New York time, daylight savings time, as the Mets meet the San Francisco Giants in a doubleheader. Tomorrow's doubleheader will be on both radio and television. Today's broadcast has been brought to you in cooperation with Sports Network. Our engineer was Sandy Alper. Our statistician was Matt Winnick. Our producer was Joe Gallagher. And our executive producer was Joel Nixon. The final score again, the Mets 7, the Giants 6. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Lindsey Nelson speaking for Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner, saying so long. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.